Good morning. It is Monday Morning Motivation with Chris Cooking Nashville. Hope everyone is having a great Monday. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm still waking up a little bit.
I'm still trying to wake up too.
Yeah, here, let's take some coffee.
Yeah.
I'm good though. I'm happy to be here. It's Mel's down here. I don't know if you guys can see her, but she came over to say hello. But no, we're doing good. We've had a very busy week in the Delisle household, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Keeps us out of trouble.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but
I think it does. Yeah.
Theoretically, it should, but
I
you
think
never
it
know.
does.
You
Yeah.
never know.
How are you guys doing?
How's everybody here? Tell us hello. Hit the like button while you are dropping in. If you don't mind, it is free and it is low carb to do so. Comment. Let us know where you guys are watching from. Tell us how your Monday morning is going. And we're going to just talk with you guys about some cool stuff today. Let's say let's say hello. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm telling you, if you guys want to know if the coffee's kicking in yet or not, it hasn't fully kicked in. My as a lady that I went to church with when I was a kid would have said, my tongue got in front of my eye teeth and I couldn't see what I was saying.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I need to steal that.
There
I
you
need
go.
to steal that.
Yeah. Well, Jolene is here, says planning on going all carnivore for March. Any advice to get prepared would be so helpful. Before we say hello to other people, how about we just answer this? How about we talk about this?
I think this is awesome, yes.
I will give you my thoughts, and then I'm going to let Ash, as a lady who has done carnivore and went from keto to carnivore and back, and kind of plays around with that based on how she's feeling in any particular given week. I'll let her maybe give you a little bit more of that information than what I have. So I think to be prepared to go full carnivore, first of all, congratulations for giving that a shot. There's a couple of things you need to know. If you're starting out carnivore and suddenly you were just really like, I just really don't like this. And maybe I just wasn't ready for this. And maybe I went too hardcore and whatever. And if you're having problems, if you decide to add in a few veggies or you try to back off carnivore a little bit, even if it's maybe just for a few days and then you try it, a little bit more again, you're not a failure. So try to stick with it. Do the best you can, but don't look at yourself as a failure or a success based on whether or not you make it through. Okay? Being carnivore and going carnivore for the first time should be an exciting thing, not a reason that you are focusing on, am I going to fail? So get your mind right, and it will make you a much happier person in the process of doing this. Whether you do it perfectly, whether you struggle, whatever the case is, you'll see it for the value it really has. So that's really important. So some things to do to get ready. Number one, stock up on meat. Lots of meat, and I know eggs are expensive and kind of at a premium right now, but eggs are really helpful. Decide whether or not you're going to do the dairy thing. That's really up to you. How do you handle dairy? But decide that, Jolene. Also, have some things that are very easy to just pull out and eat. Whether they are super clean or whether it's maybe there's a little bit of some spice and chemical and preservative things in there that aren't 100% ideal. Like when I did carnivore the first time, I used to keep hot dogs around all the time.
Yeah.
And I'd throw a couple of hot dogs in the microwave real quick, just wrapped up in a paper towel, and I'd just have something to eat quickly. On carnivore, when you're doing it the first time, don't let yourself get too hungry. Because when you get hungry is when your brain is going to start, I wish I could have those veggies. I wish I could have this. I wish I could have... And if you want to be successful at carnivore, even if you're not going to stick with it, if you just want to try it, you don't want to be sitting there focusing on everything you can't have. So make sure you're not hungry. And if you do start getting hungry, go ahead and eat something. Don't count your calories. Don't count your macros. You can do all that later if you want. But if you jump into carnivore for the first time and the first thing you're worried about is my protein and my fat and counting and, I got to limit my food. It's
a lot.
It's a lot, and it's ridiculous to do that when you do carnivore for the first time. It's just mostly on carnivore. I don't even count macros. I eat when I'm hungry, and I don't if I'm not. And that is as close as I track everything. Now, the only thing I count is maybe carbs. If I'm having like a little bit of a sauce on something, or if like doing dirty carnivore, leaning more ketovore. If I'm having a little bit of that stuff, I just make sure I know how many carbs are in it, because I just don't want to overdo it and just accidentally do a whole bunch of carbs because I wasn't paying attention. Other than that, I don't track anything, and I would recommend for the first time especially, you don't track anything. Eat as much as you want. Eat all of the carnivore things that you love. If there's a particular kind of meat, there's a kind of eggs, there's a whatever it is you like, stock up on it. Eat as much of that as you want. Make it enjoyable. Make it something you love to do, because it will just give you so many better benefits. The other thing I would say is really make sure you have electrolytes standing by, because as you drop your carbs that much, you might start to flush and you might need a bunch of extra electrolytes. I think that's probably the stuff that I would say just set yourself up for success with. So
great advice.
What ideas and thoughts do you have about going carnivore, especially as a woman the first time?
Yeah, it's a lot, but no, it's exciting. Everything that you just said, spot on, especially the electrolytes. When I went from keto to carnivore, I felt like I actually did need to have more, and without them I started to feel really poorly, especially just as you're dumping. So definitely have extra electrolytes in the house. The other thing I was going to suggest is butter. Butter is really, really good. I'm sure I don't know, Jolene, if you're already on keto or ketovore, I'm not sure where you're coming from. Maybe you're coming from standard American diet. So if you have questions on anything we're saying, please let us know. But yeah, I would suggest just having lots and lots of butter. It will help hormones. It really helps your body transition. It's going to make you feel really good, sleep better, and it will help keep you satiated throughout the day. That was something that was very helpful to me. Really kind of helped me get through a lot of the feeling yucky portion.
Also, I know Thomas DeLauer. I don't really watch a lot of his stuff, but back when we first did keto, I did watch, and he actually did carnivore. He's more of a keto and carb cycling, and I don't know. He does some stuff I don't agree with, but seems like a nice enough guy. He did carnivore. He tried it. And the first time he tried it, he actually was doing lower fat because he was counting all the fat macros, because he's like a bodybuilder type guy. And so he's real into that. And he didn't feel very good. And so he actually said, I realized partway through I was limiting fat and I was doing a lower fat version of carnivore. And people are talking about I should be doing high fat. So he actually increased his fat intake, eating fatty meat with butter. And he felt way better. Yeah. So do not do low fat when you are doing carnivore, especially that first time. Maybe in the future you'll find out you want to reduce the fat and you feel better, but when you're doing this the first time, really make sure you get that high fat in there, that high fat carnivore thing for the first time. Difference. You really need that fat for energy when you're doing carnivore, because you're not getting any of the carbs that hold on to anything. So make sure you're getting high fat. And the butter she's talking about is a great way of doing that. Plus, it comes with other benefits. And we're not doctors, no medical advice, but just
telling you it works for us.
Speaking from personal experience and just kind of our outlook on this sort of stuff. That's what I would say you do. So please continue with the butter. But you said that and it reminded me.
Yeah, no, I don't think people understand how big of a deal that butter really is. I mean, it's amazing. So especially, of course, like, the economy right now is not the greatest, and so it's like, maybe you can or cannot afford to eat a big fatty cut of red meat every single day. So having things like hot dogs, being able just to take pats of butter throughout the day is really great. Having snacks ready was a big thing. I would say get some clean pork rinds, or it's like pork rinds and salt. Have those ready in case you get munchy. Having things like beef jerky, bacon.
Yeah,
purse bacon is a big favorite of mine. But yeah, having different things.
Which is funny because you don't carry a purse.
No,
it's more like pocket bacon for you.
I just pull it out and just eat my bacon. Yeah, all of those are great things, and hopefully kind of give you a hand. And also, I mean, I think the biggest thing, truthfully, Jolene, would be having a really strong community around you.
Yes.
Because everybody is different. Like how my body reacts on carnivore is not how Chris's reacts on carnivore. I'm sure people here in the comments have their own experience with it. And so the proper human diet is a spectrum. So let's all remember that. So we're just here to try to help you figure out what works for you. So with that being said, as you start in March, like going through carnivore and you're doing it, come back, check in with us. Let us know how you're doing, because you may run into issues. I ran into some things, I think it was right after the second week that I did carnivore for 30 days, and I had some issues, so we had to ask people questions and figure out, like, hey, why is this going on?
Yep.
Maybe you'll have those issues, maybe you won't. Kind of hard to give you all of that information, and it's a lot. So come back to live streams, check in with us. If you're feeling like, man, I just really need some extra, support. I have so many questions. What's the deal? Go to chriscookingnashville.com. It's right there on the screen. Join our private community.
It's also linked in the description box for anyone watching this video, so you can come join if you want extra support, and we'll just be there and give you ideas as best we can.
You not only have though the access to ask like Chris and I questions or whatever, but there's literally a bunch of different people in there. We have a great community, very encouraging, very supportive. They all do keto carnivore. They all are able to post, share stories. You can connect with other people. We share recipes, not just Chris's, but other members. So that is a really great resource if you're interested in something like that. And if you have any more questions, check out Chris's free ebook as well. You can download it free at chriscookingnashville.com. There's lots of actually really good tips in there for just starting out on this. So hopefully that helps.
Absolutely. It's good to see you, Jolene. I feel like we haven't seen your name pop up for a little bit here. So just glad to know you're still watching and doing your thing, and just let us know how we can support you, and congrats on trying carnivore.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's awesome.
Good for you.
It's very, very good. Carrie is here. Good morning, Carrie. And Carrie says, wish I was more prepared for when my great aunt gave me the house. Behind on property tax at the job on the church, independent contractor, just being in survival mode. I get it, man.
When it rains, it pours.
Yep. When the pandemic hit, Ash and I lost everything we had, and we had to build it all back from scratch, and we were living on credit cards. It was, honestly, the fact we didn't leave Nashville was a miracle. So I totally get it.
We didn't go bankrupt, and we didn't do that.
Yep.
We just worked 50 jobs.
Yep. I get it, but hey, we're here to talk about it.
That's right. That's right.
Just gotta make things happen and look for the opportunities. Rick is here. Good morning, Rick. We appreciate
Rick?
you. My mom is here. Hello, waving from ISS. And of course, Lynn is here. Good morning, Lynn. We are so glad to see you.
We love you, Lynn.
There's Rockin' Keto Amy. Hello, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
I like this. Carrie did something new with his coffee, having just one coffee a day, used a pasta strainer and a nice glass bowl, did a pour-over method with the organic coffee, and he says the coffee was the best.
It sounds really good.
Yeah, your brother, so her brother, second youngest brother, is a manager at a Starbucks and is really into coffee.
Yeah, and massively so.
Yeah, he loves pour-over coffee. I think that's
he does
that's
one
probably
like
his
every
favorite.
day, I feel like.
Yeah, it's probably his favorite way to have it.
He loves it.
Yeah. Janelle is here, one of our rock star moderators. Good morning, everybody. Please hit the like and subscribe button here, then go to the CCN Studios channel and hit the like and subscribe button there, too. Yes, thank you so much, Janelle.
Janelle, you are amazing. Thank you, friend.
Yes, so speaking of the Studios channel, Ash and I have been talking. We're going to start casually starting to put some more stuff over there, some different like health kind of videos, because we want to really get that rolling and get it growing. There's so many projects that we're working on simultaneously, and it's hard to keep up with all of them some days, but we have a new schedule that we're running on a weekly basis. We're a few weeks into that, and it's really helping us be more efficient, and we're going to add in an intentional thing while we're already set up to film to, on occasion when we have time, start filming stuff for that channel. So it's going to be really good.
We got lots in the pot, guys. It's very exciting. Very good stuff.
Yep. Lots of stuff. We might talk a little bit more about some other stuff that we're using and doing here. So, Barry Weems is here. Good morning, everyone. Have a blessed day and week. Barry, how are you doing, brother?
Yeah,
how are you
check in,
feeling?
man. Talk to us.
Let us know how you're doing and what we can do to help you. So, Michelle is here. Hello, Michelle.
Hi,
Michelle. Rick says it is a rainy day there in Miami.
Yuck.
Lynn says she loved the red ball cap on Mel.
Mel's a personality, man.
Yes.
She's something.
I had to steal it back from her today.
Yeah. So. Chris is like, give me my hat back. Come on.
Yes. Sherry is here and says, OMG. I'm not sure what she's surprised about, but we're glad you're here, Sherry.
Well, hi, Sherry.
Addicted to Antlers is here. Good morning to ya. And Cheryl, she is part of our private community, is here. Good morning, Cheryl. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you, friend.
Yep. Dawn is here. Good morning. Nice to see you, Dawn.
Hey.
And I think for Sherry, one of the OMGs might be because it's so either early or late her time. I forget. I forget which side of the date line that is, but
it's early for us too, if that helps.
Yeah, she's from Australia, so she very rarely is able to catch anything we do live because she's on such a different schedule.
Yeah.
But she's
glad it worked out.
She's here, so.
Yeah.
Holly Springer is here. Hello, Holly.
Hi,
Good
Holly.
morning. Barry Weems says, I just made a delivery in Indiana and reloaded going back to Texas.
Awesome,
please be safe, my brother. Drive safely. We are always praying that you are safe on the road. So Barry is one of the few and the proud over the road trucker types who is keeping everything moving, and we don't give enough credit to the guys who are out there, the guys and the girls, out there behind the wheel and trying to take care of keeping all of the logistics moving through the country. So.
Yeah.
And all around the world. So we appreciate that. Shout out to all the truckers. And Barry, if you haven't seen it, Carnivore Werewolf has a really cool documentary. I was a part of it, and a bunch of big influencers were a part of it. A bunch of the doctors, and it is all about, it's for truckers, and it's all about the benefits of a carnivore diet and being an over-the-road trucker. So if you haven't seen it, you might watch that. It might just be interesting to you. And I know he's going to do a part 2. Hopefully we're going to be involved in that as well. And really cool. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
He put a lot of work into that documentary, and I mean, did it all himself, all with his cell phone. But it was really well done for for the stuff that he's using and everything. Like, you can tell he put a lot of work into making that what it is, and it's really cool. So Carnivore Werewolf, you guys go check it out. And if you know someone who's a trucker and they need to get their diet under control, please share that with them.
Yeah.
So, very cool. Michelle says this is her first live.
Wow, look at that.
That's awesome. We're so glad you're here, Michelle.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, too, we do a couple of live streams every week. So every Monday morning, we do this live stream, Monday Morning Motivation, at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then on Tuesday nights, we do Backstage with Chris, which is at 6 p.m. Central, which is down in our kitchen. And Chris always cooks something yummy and tasty, and we just hang out and answer questions.
Yes.
Why he does all the work and cooks.
And I have to tell you guys, tomorrow night for Backstage with Chris, I am going to do a recipe experiment live in front of you guys. I'm going to show you how I experiment and create a recipe. And it's based off of another one of my recipes. It's based off of my chicken pasta noodles. But this one is weird.
Yeah, it is.
This one is weird. And so I got this idea because, Dustin at Keto Simple shared a video with me where he was like, look at this guy doing this weird thing where he was basically taking hot dogs and he was using a metal tube and like getting the core out of the hot dog, as it were, and using them almost like these big, thick, almost like Asian style noodles. And I was like, it gives me an idea. And then I got thinking about something that Dr. Barry always says. So I'm going to credit Dr. Barry with this recipe, and I appreciate Dustin sharing the video that then kicked this idea in. Dr. Barry always says, you can do carnivore if you have to with the cheapest potted meat and hot dogs and bologna that you can find. Get the lowest carb version you can find, and you can do carnivore that way. And it's like, even if it's not ideal, is, as Dr. Barry would say, it's a whole hell of a lot better than the standard American diet crap you've probably been eating your whole life. And so this got me thinking, and I looked at Ash and I said, I wonder if I can turn hot dogs into pasta.
We're going to find out.
And so we're going to do a recipe experiment. I'm going to do 2 different versions of hot dog noodles. And not just like cutting them into noodles. Like, I'm actually going to process them up and turn them into noodles. And I'm going to show you 2 different very hot dog related sauces that go on it. So we're making hot dog pasta, and we're going to do it live in front of you guys and taste it for the first time live. So you've got to set your clock and put a reminder in your phone, and you got to tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, to see if Ash just spits out hot dog noodles.
He asked me, he was like, would you eat hot dogs if I made them into noodles? I'm like, at this point, sure. I mean, I've already had the eggs and bologna in a blender. I've eaten it all. I'm like, we'll just go for it.
It's going to be wild.
I'm curious, though, because, I mean, if anyone in the world could do it, it would be you, but we'll see.
We're going to find out. And then if the recipe is successful, then I'm going to have to send a message to Dr. Barry and say, did you ever think that you saying what you said would turn into me making hot dogs into pasta?
Yeah, I bet he didn't think about that, but...
What other, by the way, while we're on the subject of this, crazy thing, what other ridiculous things do you guys have ideas for that you would like to see me do or see if I can do? If you got any ideas, drop it in the comments and say, have you ever thought about taking such and such and turning it into this? I'm always looking for inspiration to come up with wild and crazy things.
It's just fun, man. I love it. I can't wait. It's going to be good. Turn in tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Standard.
Carrie says, I went carnivore from low carb, never got the flu that most people say they got. Yeah, so Carrie, the fact that you were already low carb is probably why. Because if you want to avoid keto flu, If you go low carb and then go keto, more strict, and then go ketovore and then go carnivore, if you work your way into it, you don't get that sudden flushing of all your electrolytes and change and sugar withdrawal symptoms and all that, so you don't experience that. So that's actually a really good example. Awesome. Carrie is a good example of how if you ease your way into this, if you're doing it the first time, you can avoid a lot of those sort of unpleasant sugar withdrawal symptoms people talk about. I talk about that in my free ebook as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Lacey is here, says, afternoon all. Technically tomorrow is my full week of carnivore. Ooh. Still going strong. Got hush puppies and crab cakes planned for tonight and leftovers.
Yum.
Love it.
Way to go, Lacey.
So let me tell you something really cool, Lacey. Those hush puppies, and I just did this as a test yesterday because I'm going to be making more tonight. We're going to be filming a video, and the hush puppies are going to go along with what I'm making because we have guest taste testers coming today. They're going to be here this afternoon. So the hush puppies, if you have leftovers, throw them in a Ziploc bag, throw them in the freezer, and you can take them out of the freezer and put them in an air fryer, like 320 to 350 degrees for about 10 to 11 minutes. They came out of the air fryer from just frozen in the air fryer. They came out of the air fryer even better than when they were fresh.
It's true too. And I love. You were so excited.
Blew my mind.
I was upstairs and he brought them and I was like, no way, these taste better. And I took a bite and I was like, oh my gosh, they were so good.
So if you guys want to know, you can actually use the hush puppy recipe, prep it, throw them in a bag, freeze them, and have them ready to pull out anytime you want. So do like a giant quadruple batch if you want. I don't care. Have them in the freezer and you can pull them out and throw them in an air fryer if you've got one. Good. If you don't have an air fryer, you could probably put them on a tray, like put them on a cookie sheet with like a cooling rack so that they're just up off the cookie sheet, and you could set them in a hot oven, maybe like 400 degrees or something, and probably again about the same amount of time, maybe 350 if you wanted to go a little longer. 350 to 400, you might have to play with it, but you should be able to put them into an oven for probably 15 or so minutes, and it would be like getting those pre-made frozen things that come from the store that you stick in a hot oven and bake. You should be able to do that. So and cool. They might not be quite as crispy on the outside, but they're still going to be really good.
Though.
Really, really good.
Yeah, so. They were amazing.
Hello, neighbor. Richard Williams is here.
Friends.
Janelle is welcoming Michelle.
Thank
That's
you, Janelle.
Awesome. Sherry is here. Good morning.
Hello,
Good morning, Sherry. I'm not going to put you in timeout, I promise. Michelle says, I made your pizza crust last week. It was amazing. We love it cold the next day, too. Yes, Michelle, that is a fantastic recipe, and I'm so glad you enjoy it. And I have a new pizza crust, which is even better.
It really is.
Coming soon. Now, I was planning on releasing it this Saturday. I may actually be waiting a couple more weeks to release it because I have a sponsor for that video, and I'm just trying to figure out how to work in partnership with them so that it's best for them and for you guys and for me, all of us, so we all get the best benefit, because there is a product I'm using to make the pizza that I have a discount code for. You can make the pizza without the product, so it's not like you can't do this without what I'm using, but it is a really cool way to do it, and if you're interested in this thing, I want to make sure you guys get the best deal possible, and they have a couple of sales coming up.
So we'll wait.
And so we're kind of waiting to figure out, is it best to do it this weekend? Is it best to wait until a couple more weeks? What are we going to do so that you guys get the biggest discount between the discount code they're giving me and their sale? You can stack them, and you guys will be able to use more discount to save yourself some more money. So I'm just talking with the sponsor before we figure out exactly when I'm going to release it. So it'll either be this Saturday, or if not, we'll be doing today's video we're filming this Saturday, and then it'll be like maybe on the 15th, I think, of March. So,
but keep your eye out though for that new pizza recipe, because
it's great.
It's like, I don't know how he can make his old one better, and he did. Plus this one I think is a lot easier.
It is easier, I think,
It's way easier, quicker. I don't want to say too much more because I'll get in trouble, but I don't want to brag. I've had it like 4 times, and it's like so good. So good.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see. Jolene says she's currently keto.
Oh, fantastic.
Excellent.
That should make the transition a little bit easier for you. So that's awesome. We help a lot of people go from the standard American diet, and usually they will only do keto for like a week or so. Like I had one person in mind in particular. She felt so good after just a week of like kind of like dirty keto that she was like, I'm going carnivore.
I'm all in.
And she did it, and then she started to have some issues, and it's like, let's just back up a little, and let's just ease our way in. But that's great. Good for you, Jolene. Well, please, again, if you have questions, just check back in with us and let us know.
Yep. Let us know how we can support you, and you are great. And I have stuff all over the front of my shirt. I don't know what it is. You
want to blame the dog?
Yeah, it's probably the dog's
She's
fault.
sleeping on my feet. She's...
Lacey made the faux mashed potatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't like them at first, but when I chilled and reheated them with water in a saucepan, loved them that way. Had them with some all-beef hot dogs. Yeah, so if you don't like them at first and then you reheat them and then you do like them, it's probably because there was still egg flavor that wasn't cooked out. And so when you do them again, cook them longer, cook them farther, cook them drier, get as much of that egg flavor out as you can. That's the one thing. It's so hard to explain to people how much you have to cook that, because it seems so crazy overcooked, but there's just no other way to off-gas all of that sulfur that's in egg whites. That's what makes eggs taste like eggs, is the sulfuric compounds, and the more you cook that, the more that evaporates and cooks off. And if you let them sit for a while, or especially if you refrigerate them and then reheat them, they do lose a lot more of that. So, yeah, so I mean, you can make them ahead of time. I don't know if you did my original or my 2.0 version.
Yeah, there's two versions.
But the 2.0 version I made with less ingredients, and it's actually easier to reheat. So if you didn't make the 2.0s, try making the 2.0s, because they are designed to be easy to reheat, and that will make it even easier if you really enjoy them reheated. So it's a great point.
Sweet. Yeah, really good point.
Were you going to say something about those?
I could be totally wrong. I married you, so I don't get to make the potatoes. I just eat them. But didn't you say, like, when you're cooking the eggs, though, don't you look for like a burnt popcorn smell, or like a buttered popcorn smell? When it stops smelling like eggs and you start getting almost like a butter popcorn kind of smell, that's when you know most of the sulfur, if not all of it, is pretty much cooked out. I think that's a really good way, though, if you're not sure and you're doing it and you're like, do I go more? Do I, like, whatever, that smell thing, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So
I was doing it one time, and she came in, and I was like, smell this. Can you smell like buttered popcorn? And she was like, oh yeah, it definitely just smells different. It does not smell like eggs anymore.
Yeah.
The whole house smelled like eggs, but the eggs in the pan didn't smell like eggs. That's because all the sulfur was in the air in the house. So, yeah, that's a really important point. Yeah. It's awesome. Patricia is here. Hello, Patricia.
Hi. Good to see you.
Let's see. Janine Olson is here. Are there brands of pork rinds you recommend? Prefer a more cost-effective brand if available. The Epic brand is so expensive. Yeah, it's not cheap, but they are the best I've had.
I actually did not really care for pork rinds at first, because I don't personally really like the lard kind of aftertaste that they had. And then actually it was Pastor Bob that put us onto the Epic brand. I think they are the best, but also I feel like you could just try different brands. As long as the ingredients are clean, go for it. But personally, I think I also don't eat pork rinds every day. Like, I kind of try to limit that. But when I do have pork rinds, I want to enjoy them. So I think the Epic brand is worth the money. But I'm sure, like, you could go to Whole Foods especially, or, Publix.
Yeah, Whole Foods, Publix. I mean, I even sometimes, for me, because I like pork rinds that are porkier than she does.
Yeah, thumbs up for pork rinds. Yeah.
I like pork rinds that are maybe a little bit porkier. She does not care for that. I actually enjoy them quite a bit. I'll get, like, the cheap Food Lion brand just down the store, and just the plain ones, because there's no seed oils and there's no added sugar of any kind. Those I think are really good, but they are porkier. So, I mean, any of them that are just a good, clean pork rind are fine. But as far as flavor, if you want them to not be super porky, Epic is the best that I've tasted. So, and I know they're more expensive, but it's, it's kind of one of those things that in a certain way you kind of get what you pay for, unfortunately, with pork rinds, I think. So, but yeah, anything that tastes good to you.
Yeah.
Go for it.
People's taste buds are different.
Absolutely. Sure. A Refined Me is here, says, high fat, yes. However, ease into that. Too much fat initially can cause diarrhea, specifically rendered fat. So drain the beef and add butter. It's a good tip.
Advice.
Yep.
Great advice.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you're having intestinal issues and you're like, oh, I don't know about all of this, back down on the fat. And if you're like, I'm constipated and nothing's really happening, and I'm like, now, caveat. Constipation is not, I haven't gone in a day and a half, but feel totally fine.
Yeah.
Constipation is, I feel like I have to go. It's crampy, but I can't go. That's constipation. Not going for a day and a half because, or 2 days or whatever, but you're feeling totally fine, is your body absorbing all the nutrition because everything in meat is so much nutrition to be absorbed. So you have to know the difference. Constipation is you feel like you have to go, it's painful, you can't. Just not having to go for a couple of days, that's actually pretty normal on carnivore. There are days that I just skip it. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm good.
It's a weird adjustment. You kind of have to get used to it.
It is, because you don't have any fiber to have to push through that can't be digested. All of the meat and fat can be digested and absorbed. There's very little in that is not going to be digested and absorbed if your intestines are working properly. So, you know, just a thing. But if you're constipated and you're like, crampy, I can't go, but I really need to, then increase your fat. So more fat, looser, less fat, firmer.
That's awesome.
Play around and adjust as you see fit.
Like it.
Yep.
Really good point. A refined me. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And Jolene says, thank you. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Donna is here from Grand Prairie, Alberta. Good to see you, Donna. And Margaret Chase is here. Hi, Chris and Ash. I've been taking iodine for the last 2 weeks, and I'm feeling better all around. Thanks to you both and Dr. Barry.
That
Excellent.
makes me so happy. That's
Excellent.
good.
You want to tell them about your iodine fix?
Oh, boy. Well, we actually asked Dr. Barry a question in Nisha on their Monday Night Live. I guess that was last week. So Chris bought iodine, which, as you know, we take daily in our house.
Buy iodine all the time.
Lugal's 2% for the win. So we've been on it, and it made such a big difference for him and I in our health.
Yep.
And so you got, was it D?
I bought some.
Yeah.
And it was way cheaper for the amount. And I looked at the number of micrograms, and I was like, okay, it's less micrograms per serving. So obviously it's a weaker iodine. Like, it's more watered down, basically. But I was like, but I'll just increase the amount that I'm using, and we'll still get the same amount. So I get it, and I expected it would maybe be a little bit lighter of a color. But it's almost no color.
Yeah.
So I was like, what is up with this? And so I Googled decolorized iodine. And I found that there is iodine out there that is decolorized, supposedly, that's used like for a topical thing for like first aid type situations. But there's, I guess, no color to it. I don't know. I'm not a chemist or a doctor or any of these things. I don't know what any of this is. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe they've just done something to take the color out of this somehow. I don't know. So we were using it, and I asked Dr. Barry in one of his live streams about decolorized iodine. And he's like, I've never even heard of that.
Right.
And he's like, even in med school and like in chemistry classes and all, like, I've never heard of iodine without dark brown, orange color. And he said, can you send me a link and I'll do some research? So waiting to see if he, hears anything about that. But this iodine is either not, he said, he was like, maybe it's a scam. But the iodine is either not really iodine and it's a scam, or it is massively watered down to where even their microgram serving size that they're claiming is not actually what it is. That's the only thing I can figure. So, and she can tell you what she's experienced.
So just be on the lookout with your bottles. But we had already bought this, and so Chris was like, we'll just add more in and whatever. So basically, we, for a couple of days, were not getting our full doses of iodine, and using
probably a week or so.
Yeah, a week or so. And I started to feel terrible. I started to, I could tell my hormones were getting out of whack. I could tell that I was off. I started to have brain fog. I started to have a couple of issues come back where they were things I used to deal with before we went keto and carnivore.
Yeah.
I was feeling terrible. So I came to him and I said, I don't care if we at this point just throw the other stuff out. I said, it's worth the money. Go get the real stuff, please.
Yeah, get the other stuff.
So, sure enough, yesterday was...
So I got it. So there's a couple of different companies that I get it from. I usually get it from J. Crow, Lugal's 2%, or sometimes Carlisle has 2% iodine on Amazon as well.
Yep.
And so I usually get one of the two of those based on, just the price per ounce, essentially, whichever one is good. And both of them have seemed great. This other stuff, this was also Carlisle, and it says that it's like a dietary supplement, iodine. And I was like looking at the number of micrograms per drop. I compared, so I was like, okay, I was going to use this many drops of this cheaper kind that I just bought versus this, and it was still a little bit cheaper to get it watered down. And it's like, even if I'm using way more, to get the same number of micrograms. Well, that's fine.
Right.
But it doesn't seem to work.
Yeah.
Especially for her. She's the one that really notices it quickly. Because, I mean, you know, female hormones, they really like to shift fast.
It messes
sometimes.
with my thyroid, like, hardcore.
Right.
And so that, between the butter and the iodine, which we talk about this all the time, that's when I noticed a big difference. So a week, though, of not having my usual iodine, I was like, wow, I feel really off. I'm having brain fog. I started having all of these issues. I could tell that, like, my cortisol was up. I was not sleeping through the night. Like, I mean, I was like, I can't do it. So my husband, being the hero that he is, went on Amazon. He's like, I got you, babe. I got you. So yeah, it showed up just the other day. And so now I've been back on it. Today will be day 2 back on it. I feel so much better.
Yeah.
I feel so much more level. My brain fog. Oh, day 3. Excuse me, day 3.
Yeah, day 3.
I don't count. It's hard. But it's just like iodine is such a great thing though to have, and just to have that in your diet, especially I think for ladies with thyroid issues and all that, like it's a big deal. But I cannot express how much better I'm just feeling after having that back in and doing it. So Margaret, it makes me very happy to hear that, and I'm so glad.
Absolutely.
It's good. It makes a very big difference.
And Cranky Carnivore Cutler is here. Good morning, John.
Friends.
Says it's slightly chilly in Tucson. So
Ooh.
There is my dad, Papa
Hi,
Nashville,
Tony.
in the house. Has finally made it.
Love it.
Look at Jeff.
Oh my gosh, what a guy.
Jeffrey, you are just such a wonderful guy. Jeffrey is also part of our private community.
He is.
What an amazing man. Great live last night. He watched the Keto Crusade. If you guys didn't watch our Keto Crusade last night, it's on my channel.
Awesome,
Go watch it after this if you'd like to catch up on what we talked about. I thought it was a great discussion. Says, great live. Listening not in real time. Brought a patient butter this morning, and he let me throw out all his seed oils. Have another that just threw out her entire pantry, replaced with BBBE.
Come on.
Guys, Jeffrey is a great example of, this has changed my life. I'm going to go just teach other people about it in a kind way, but actually help them, bring them things, teach them what to get rid of. Like, he's literally changing the world one plate at a time.
Literally.
Or one pantry at a time in this case. Like, amazing. Jeffrey, you are amazing, and thank you so much for the super chat. You are just a wonderful human being, and we appreciate not only what you do for us on the channel, but what you're doing for just the people that you're in your care. Like, what a beautiful thing to do. What a great testament to the person that you are.
Oh, you're a superhero, literally.
Michelle says, I just switched over to here from the Studios channel. Thank you,
Awesome.
Michelle.
So cool.
And Janelle's saying, love to hear all your patient stories. You were awesome. Yes, Jeffrey has great stories. We love him just telling us about these things.
Yes.
Cynthia is here, says, good morning. Good morning, Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia.
Shantae is here, says, hi. Hey, Shantae.
Hey.
Good to see you, my friend. And Lynn is here. Good morning from Alberta.
Ooh, nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cheryl has a question. I started electrolytes 2 days ago. I got a headache after drinking it both days. Is there a reason that happens? Go ahead.
Yeah, Cheryl, to better answer your question, we'll come back around to it, but can you comment down below and maybe let us know what electrolyte brand you are drinking? And the reason why I asked that is I did not know this until recently. Our good friend Mr. Chris Bear at Keto, Chow, and Salty was kind enough to explain it, but and you can chime in, of course, if you need to add anything. But when I was a little girl, I became very, very ill and was hospitalized and stuff, and I had something called valley fever. And so, to make a very long story short, I actually have a ragweed allergy. So when I have products, whether it be electrolytes, keto products, whatever, with stevia in it, stevia is basically related to ragweed. And so when we started keto, I had no idea about any of this, and so I would drink certain brands of electrolytes who maybe used stevia, and I would get a headache immediately afterwards. So I'm wondering, we're not doctors, not medical advice, but based on my own findings, maybe you might have a ragweed allergy, and that's why if you're drinking maybe a certain type of electrolyte that's using that stevia, that bothers you. I am the exact same way. Now, however, I drink salty electrolytes every single day. They make me feel great. The Bears, Chris and Miriam, are wonderful people. And so Chris was able to explain to me in his wonderful scientific way, which if he was here, I would say, Chris, please. But Chris Bear was explaining, though, that at Keto, Chow, and Salty, the reason why I can have their products and my ragweed allergy doesn't bother up, I don't get migraines, I don't get headaches, I feel great, is because they actually use the stevia in the absolute purest form.
It is the most refined form of stevia, and there is There is some compound in stevia which is what is related to ragweed, and if you process it to the highest and purest form like they use, which is the most expensive form of stevia, if you do that, it is the cleanest form of stevia, and people who have ragweed allergy and have these severe sensitivities to stevia often, not all the time, but oftentimes can actually have that higher end version of stevia without the problems. But the cheaper forms can cause a lot of problems for people, and for her it's like literally 5 minutes later she's getting a migraine headache if she has the cheaper form. But she can have all the salty electrolytes and all of the, like the Keto Chow core that they sweeten with stevia. The stevia they use in the Keto Chow core and the salty electrolytes is the same stevia, and when they do that, she can have all of that and never gets a headache from it. It's that quality of stuff, which is another one of the reasons we recommend salty. And I believe Cheryl is in Canada and says she cannot get salty because it's super expensive to have it shipped. That's probably part of the issue. So it depends on what kind you're using.
What kind you're using, or so maybe you could research then, maybe ask like ChatGPT or ask around. But what can you get then in Canada that maybe is sweetened with something like allulose?
Well, truthfully, if you can't get salty, go get my ebook and use the recipe I have in there to make your own, and either buy the really high quality stevia if that was something you want to try, or use something like allulose, or use monk fruit, or use xylitol, or something else, erythritol, like whatever it is you're comfortable with. Or don't add any sweetness to it at all. Just get the electrolytes and put like some lemon in the water. Like there's a lot of ways to do it.
That may be smart then for Cheryl to make her own too. And that way she can see like, okay, so if I do take out the sweet stuff, is that what's causing it? Because again, we're not doctors, but I literally took a certain brand of electrolytes for 2 years when we first started keto, and I literally right behind it would have to take Tylenol and Advil because I just knew every day I'm like, this is going to give me a migraine and we're going to be here.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Absolutely. Well, John is here. He says, just gotten here from the 2 Crazy Ketos. 15 minutes late, catching up on 1.5 times.
Glad you're here, friend.
I love this. Jeffrey says, feeling so blessed that I'm actually finally getting some takers on the PhD amongst the patients. Seemed like no one was buying, and now it's a windfall.
Come on.
And that's what we do. We just, we keep being kind and just keep showing people what we can do. There's Janelle dropping in the Carnivore Werewolf link for you guys.
Sweet.
If you want to go check out that documentary. What a great guy he is. Beth is here, says, my husband and I have been gradually migrating to full carnivore. I eat a burger every day for lunch and started making your hamburger bun recipe, and it has been a total game changer.
Awesome.
I'm so glad, Beth. Congrats.
So cool.
You're doing great. You're doing great. So proud of you guys. Lacey says, I love the noodles. Made bacon Alfredo with them. I wanted to eat the whole batch, but was full after half.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is something that, let's touch on this. People oftentimes watch my recipes and they go, oh, that looks really good, but I'd never be able to make it because I can't control myself. I'd eat the whole thing. Name one of my recipes you've been able to eat the whole thing. Even
though they're super tasty, I think they're misleading because it's like with things like Chris's noodles, with his pizza, with all this kind of stuff. I mean, your girl, back in my day, I used to be able to put down some pasta, okay? Yep. I can't with his because they're so protein heavy, and depending on the recipe, sometimes they're also very fat heavy, which is awesome, but you would be amazed at how less you actually can eat of it because you get to a point where you're just like, oh my gosh, like I just can't. So we usually always will have leftovers just because it's like I can't even eat all of that, and I usually only eat like 1 meal a day. Absolutely. Everyone is Rockin' Keto Amy and Sherry, and everyone is looking forward to the hot dog pasta. It's going to be fun. Carrie says, I can't wait to see that. I love eating hot dogs and carnivore. So this is really cool. So I'm going to show you guys. So I'm going to use a food processor and add ingredients and do this whole thing. But if you are like, hey, I love eating hot dogs, I ain't got all the time for all of that, I'm going to show you guys maybe another way that you could do something similar just by using the hot dogs the way they are. So it's going to be fun either way, and we're going to have a good time. So, and hopefully I don't make it and then she goes, Puh! It might be the first time that on camera you guys see her spit out food. I've seen her spit out food, but you guys haven't. Yeah. I've seen it. I've made recipes and I've seen it, and she goes, Puh! No. So thankfully those aren't my recipes. Those were other recipes as I was first learning how to do this, and I didn't know whose recipes were what, and I didn't know what she would or wouldn't like.
And she has very specific requirements for certain things like eggs.
I'm a little high maintenance, guys.
No, you're not high maintenance. She has certain tastes, though, that she just does not do. And there were certain things that I was like, she would be kind and she would try it, and she was like, I'm sorry, I can't. Like, literally would spit it out in the trash can. And she was like, I don't mean it as an insult, I just can't, you know? So, you guys might see that for the first time.
I'm getting flashbacks.
Well,
I'm like, ugh.
I know, you're getting that PTSD response.
Ugh.
Barry says, I'm getting better. Took me completely off one of the blood pressure pills I was taking. Hopefully they'll get it adjusted right since I've lost a total of 140 pounds.
Rock on, Barry. Come on, man.
Amazing, Barry. I'm glad you're starting to get better. So please let us know how things are going and what we can do to support you, brother.
Killer.
John says, eggs are so expensive, we're going to be eating turkey eggs soon. They're being shipped from Turkey. Yeah, I heard that. Two Crazy Ketos was talking about that.
That's funny, man.
There's some good and there's some bad about that concept, and I'm not sure which way it'll go.
Wow.
Sigma Carnivore S is here. Essie.
Hi, Essie.
Hello, Essie. Hello from Central Indiana. What part of Indiana are you at in Central? Because I'm from Southeast. So I've preached meat-based and carnivore for over 5 years, but have not overcome the addictive eating. I'm starting again today with a daily plan, not just vague goals. Good for you.
Good.
Daily plans, and here's the deal. Addictive eating, I get it. Believe me, I get it. I've been there. I have binged, and carnivore is the way to deal with that.
Yeah.
It is the way to deal with that. Carnivore is the best thing you can do. And honestly, strict carnivore for you at the beginning. When you're fighting something like a food addiction issue, addictive eating, emotional eating, mental health, any of those kinds of things, it's all about the psychology and the brain. Meat, fatty carnivore, strict carnivore, get off of all of the other junk, and then you can like 90 days later, then slowly start adding in maybe some spices, maybe some dairy, see what you can do. But that's the way. You have to find that addiction, corner it in a dark corner, and shine a bright light on it and kick that sucker out. Like that is the way to handle that. I had to do it.
I think too, when you were first doing all this and kind of trying to get your addictive eating habits under control, the great advice I know that you've told a lot of people is don't let yourself get hungry, because that's really the easiest way to fall off the wagon. So
you need to have beef jerky and eggs, like hard-boiled eggs, and like just cooked strips of steak and cooked bacon. You need to have that ready at all times, and when you start getting hungry, you start eating one of those. Because the minute you're eating that stuff, and if you're still thinking about food and you know you're not hungry, it makes it very clear for you, oh, that's not hunger, that's addiction.
Yeah.
And when you recognize it, it's a lot easier to punch it in the face.
Absolutely.
It's so much easier when you can see it for addiction, when you can get outside of it. So, Essie, you can do this, and let us know how we can support you. And again, we've got that private community. If you are interested, come join. And if you want to message me every single day, like, I'm struggling, just message me, talk to me. I'm in there to help you guys. So is Ash. Victor from Southern Keto, Dustin from Keto Simple, Pastor Bob is in there. There's a whole bunch of
great
just community members that you'll see in the chats that are in there. I mean, there's a lot of people in there, and we are there to support any one of you. So come join us, come be a part of things, and let us support you, and people just like Essie that are maybe struggling with some things. Like, this is real life. We are all struggling with our various things. We're here for you. Let us help you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Andy is here. Good morning, Andy. Picked up a brisket on sale, bought some meat to put in the freezer. Yeah.
All right. What I just heard is dinner at Andy and Susan's.
That's right.
That's what I just heard. Yum.
Rick says iguana noodles. If I can get my hand on some iguana, I'll make you some iguana noodles, Rick.
Oh my gosh. I would die. I think I'm not going to be the taste tester on that one, but maybe Rick could be the taste tester.
That's right.
Yeah.
John says, hot dog pasta. The only time I ever heard of that was on Big Bang Theory. That would probably be frowned upon by the Italian side of my family. I have a feeling it's going to be frowned upon by a lot of people who are just like, what are you doing? And I'm going to be like, just being Chris Cooking Nashville and doing weird things.
Doing your thing, man. Doing your thing.
Lacey says, awesome. I want to save some for my son. He loves hush puppies.
Yeah.
Well, you will definitely be able to do it.
Yeah.
Stacy and Ken are here. My mind has really been messing with me. I'm going stricter carnivore to clean it up. All I have to lose is the nonsense. Good for you, Stacy. Just get it. Get it, girl.
Stacy's on it.
Use that carnivore and kick that stuff in the butt.
let us know how we can help.
That's right.
But Stacy's
That's
really
right.
cool. We
are here for you.
Absolutely.
George is here, says, love your recipes. Going to try some recipes. George, thank you so much. If you have trouble with any of those recipes, comment on the video, come join the private group, email me, find me on social media, message me. I'm here to support you, and I'm here to help you nail those recipes and get them right. And congrats on being here in the community, and I hope you enjoy the recipes you try. If you need some recommendations, let me know. And thank you for jumping in and just being part of our community. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I love it when new names pop up.
Yes, it's a good thing.
Karen is here. Hi, Chris and Ash. Going to make your butter mayo today.
Yum.
Awesome. Make sure you get that butter hot enough, because the butter being the right temperature is the key to that working.
That's awesome.
Patricia says, congrats on getting a sponsor. Thank you. Yeah, anytime I get a sponsor for a video, I feel like that's a big celebratory thing. And
definitely, yeah.
Listen, guys, I know it's annoying to see ads in videos sometimes. I get it. I don't like watching videos with ads either in the middle of them. Not ads that YouTube puts on. I mean, like, ads the creator is talking about a product. I get it. But number one, I never do an ad for a product that I don't love and wouldn't use myself, and do use myself. And this is especially one that I use myself. And two, it just takes money to sustain the ability to do these things, and helping sponsors get their products in front of people makes it to where I can afford to do these things for you guys. And it's just, because it's not cheap and it is not easy, and I am not a wealthy person. Like, I don't do YouTube because it makes me wealthy for a small amount of work or something like that. Like, we stretch what we have to make ends meet, but we do this because it matters. And so anytime we get a sponsor, it just takes a little bit of the financial burden off. And it's, it's just the best thing we can do. But I still maintain the integrity of only doing that with sponsors that I really believe in.
I'd like to say a little something.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, not that I'm mad at anybody or whatever, but I think this is maybe just something to touch on super quick, because we have a lot of really great, wonderful, supportive people here. And I saw it just the other night. I was watching the live stream, and people were complaining about the ads that YouTube pops up on a video.
Right.
And then, we're watching a video, and maybe a creator that we love is like, has a sponsor, and they're putting something up. And I think I get ads are annoying. Okay, I want to skip them too. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think what we need to realize is that when, and maybe a lot of people don't know this.
Yeah.
When you're watching one of your favorite creators, whether it's Chris Cooking Nashville, whether it's Dustin at Keto Simple, insert whoever it is, okay? When you see an ad pop up, whether it's one that YouTube puts there, or whether it's one like a sponsor, someone sponsoring a video, that's how those people are being paid for their time.
Yep.
Chris probably puts at least a good 70 hours into every single recipe video between, let me develop this idea, let me go buy all of these expensive ingredients, okay? Let me try to figure out how we do this for people. Then we got to film it. Then he edits. Then he got to promote it. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, I think if more people understood when that ad pops up, that is how Chris pays his rent. That's how Dustin gets paid for his time that he has taken to say, let me help you. So just know that. And it's like, let's not complain when people are like, man, why do they have to have a sponsor in the video? Man, why are all these ads popping up? I get it. But that's how that person is paying their bills. Yeah. And I believe that people are valuable. And that if you find value in what they're doing, respect their time by letting that ad roll and just skip it. But help them to make a few cents, because that's really all they make off of it. But that is how people pay their bills. And I think people are valuable and worth the time.
And I think, like, I mean, we're not here to, just try to air dirty laundry for everybody. But I think just to maybe put it into perspective, between the rent on the place we live and our grocery bill, forget all of the other bills, forget everything we do in life, any of that other stuff, cars and, just utilities and whatever. Just the rent, which is where my kitchen exists. Okay, so I couldn't even do this if I didn't have the place we live, because I have to have a place to sleep and I have to have a kitchen to cook in. Between the rent and our grocery bill, that's probably $3,000 a month. Just those two things. With everything else in life, it's like, I'm not wealthy. I am not rich. I am busting my hump to make the money to keep ends meeting, right? Because you guys have to think, when I go out and I create a recipe, I have to go buy all those ingredients and experiment and make sure it works. Plus, I have to cook it again for the video. So everything you see me doing, I'm cooking at least twice.
Sometimes 3 or 4 times.
And that's if I get it right the very first time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I mean, think about just the grocery bill just in and of itself. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not even talking about taxes on being self-employed as a YouTuber. The government just ruins your life that way. So it's like when we have things like sponsors as YouTubers, if we have ads on our videos, like, I'm just trying to keep our heads above water financially. That's what we do. That's why when someone like Jeff gives us a $10 super chat,
that's why it's so helpful.
Like, my heart jumps, because even though YouTube takes their cut of that, fine, YouTube takes their cut. The piece of that I get, that helps me pay for the ingredients for the next recipe video. And it's like, I get it that people don't like watching ads, but here's the deal. If you guys don't watch ads, and if there's no ads on my YouTube videos, I wouldn't be here. I can't afford it. The only reason I can do this and have the time to do it is because there's ads on there. So for those of you that watch our channel and just go through those ads and you support what we do and you give us super chats and all this stuff, you join the private community, all this kind of stuff. I mean, we appreciate that. Yeah. I had someone who was like, why do you have to charge money for this private community? And I said, because it cost me $1,000 up front to create that community. People don't understand that. I had someone that complained that we're going to stop doing a weekly newsletter and we're going to go to a monthly newsletter. And they were like, why are you paying to send people emails? And I'm like, because I'm managing almost 3,000 email addresses and people need to subscribe and unsubscribe. That costs us money to manage that. Like, there are, thumbs up for costing money. It's like, there are so many things that to be a creator like this, you have to pay for. And people just don't understand it. Unless you do this for a living, you have no clue the time and money it takes to do this. And again,
not that we're complaining, but
not at all.
I feel like this is stuff that we maybe didn't really understand until we had Chris started his channel, and then as it's grown. But I know us, we feel bad when people complain because we're trying to help people. So I feel like when someone says something where it's like, oh, why do you guys have ads on the video? It's like, I don't even put them there, but I mean, that is all how we pay our rent. So the ads are cool, but also smaller channels, when you see that pop, it's not just us, it's everybody that you watch, from Dr. Barry to the smallest creator. I mean, it's everybody. So I think just understanding that though, because especially with smaller creators, I know sometimes they've shared with me, it's like, man, I want to get monetized and I want to make some money back, but blah, blah, it's a whole thing, guys.
They just get beaten up by people who want everything for free. They want it right now. They want no ads. Get to the point. Give me everything. Don't charge me anything. I want no ads. I want it all right now. And it's like,
but understanding that,
but you're killing people by having that expectation of them.
But that's why if you put on just videos in the background, even if the sound's off, like some of your favorite creators, let the videos roll. Maybe don't complain about the ads. Don't hate them for making money if they get a sponsor.
Pro tip, if you are watching a playlist for somebody and you want to just turn the volume all the way down, start the playlist, keep the YouTube volume up so that the app sees the volume as being up. Take your device, be your speakers on your computer, your phone, whatever, turn its volume down. Because if you mute it on the YouTube app, YouTube knows you're not watching it.
Cool. Pro tip.
So if you want to help out a creator, go start a playlist of theirs at the beginning and let it play through on your computer all day with the YouTube volume turned all the way up and your computer speakers muted.
Doesn't cost.
Free way to help them.
It's free.
Just
it's low carb.
Set it so autoplay is going. It's a free way to help the people that you want to see more from. And if you see our stuff, subscribe, share, watch the videos, tell your friends. We rely on you guys to make this successful because we can't do it ourselves.
Hands down.
So, and we're just here to try to help people. So there's our rant on.
We're done.
On that. But we appreciate you guys, and thank you, Patricia, for being so supportive and honestly bringing up, I think, a very important topic. Yeah.
Patricia's amazing.
Yep. Patricia's awesome.
Yes.
Katie is here, says, I haven't watched your Hush Puppy video yet. Have you thought about coating chicken with it and frying it up for chicken nuggets?
Maybe.
I'm filming a video with a taste tester today. You just watch and see what I'm doing because it's more than just that.
There's a lot going on today.
Yes.
A lot going on.
Yes. Here's the thing you guys have to realize. By the time I've done a recipe video and shared it with you, I've probably thought of 45 other ways I'm going to use that in the future. And if you keep watching, you're going to see it. I appreciate the suggestions.
Katie's smart, man. She's on.
She is. She's on a wavelength with us. Sherry says, I missed if you said, is this new pizza crust all carnivore or is it keto too? So the crust is carnivore, but if you want to add, the taste tester I had for this video, he's a standard American diet guy. I just put tomato sauce, like a keto marinara, and stuff on there, so you can make it carnivore or you can make it keto, however you want. So, but it is a carnivore crust. Lacey says, for the eggs, I had to pull them because the bottom of my pan was starting to burn. Also, I hate browning the gelatin, LOL. It was the 2.0 recipe. Perfect.
Cool.
Okay, so if your eggs were starting to burn, then they are in a pan that's too hot. So you want to turn the temperature down on the pan, cook it lower and longer. That'll help you out.
Boom. Awesome.
Ahmed Iron Maiden is here, says, hi guys, thanks for the recipes and the support. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here.
That's awesome.
She says, and they did smell like popcorn. Perfect. Yeah, so I would say do that. Maybe just turn the temperature down, cook them a little longer, try to break them up a little smaller and more and keep stirring them so they don't burn, but maybe cook them just a little bit longer. And you might just prefer them heated up, so maybe make the eggs ahead of time, throw them in the fridge, and then finish the recipe the next day.
That works too.
Yeah. Ahmed Iron Maiden says, many of your recipes contain white egg powder, and I don't seem to be finding this where I live. How can I replace it? Also, I'm a Muslim, so we don't do pork. What can I replace that with? Good question. So egg white powder, you're probably going to have to buy online. I never find it, like, locally, and egg proteins are very distinct in the way they work. So, unfortunately, unless it's certain recipes where I'm not relying on egg protein's particular properties, you can't really replace egg white powder. But if you can get it online, you can order it there, and a lot of my recipes, I'm trying to use as little of that as possible, so that is a thing. As far as the pork, totally understand that, and that's the reason I use beef gelatin most of the time in my recipes, because I know there's people that don't eat pork. For anything that has, say, like the pork panko, you can do my chicken flour. I have a chicken flour video where you take chicken breast and turn it into a dehydrated chicken flour. That would be perfect. And any place I'm using pork panko, you can just sub in chicken flour instead. Any kind of meat flour that's like dehydrated and ground down super, super fine, the chicken flour is a great option. So that's a really great question. If we have any moderators in the chat, maybe they can drop my chicken flour video in there for you. So yeah, great idea. Yes, he says, I bought egg white powder on Amazon. That's where I get it. So just make sure your egg white powder has nothing in it but egg whites. There should be no other things on the ingredients list other than egg whites.
Yeah.
Lacey says, Chris, I noticed one of my jars of egg powder had lecithin in it. Will this affect the pasta recipe at all? I can't return it and don't want to throw it out. No. The only time the lecithin affects the recipe is if you need to whip the egg whites into a fluff. And I've even heard you can make it work, but it takes a lot longer for that. But any of my stuff that the egg white powder is going in that you're not whipping it into like an egg white fluffy mixture, you can totally use the stuff with the lecithin. So the pasta, great. The pasta, all of the recent recipes I've been doing, like the fritters and the hush puppies and all of that, any of that kind of stuff, the recipe I'm doing today, all of that, it all works totally fine. So you're good.
Good question, though.
Good question. Lacey says, my husband freaks if he doesn't every day. Yes, I totally get it. My dad's kind of the same way. God bless you, Dad. As long as he doesn't feel like he has to go, he has to learn to get over that. Because if you're eating carnivore, you don't have anything to go because your body absorbs it. When you have to go every day, it's because you're eating a bunch of stuff your body can't use.
It's pretty crazy, too, to think about, like, if you change your diet, essentially your body is basically absorbing almost all of what you're taking in.
Shows you what your body really can use and what it needs.
Yeah.
And how you weren't getting it before.
It's pretty wild if you think about it from
It's
that
pretty
way.
crazy.
I'm so glad we can talk about poop on this beautiful
listen,
Monday morning.
that's what
now
we do.
Now it's like a real carnivore live stream.
Now it's a real live stream.
Yep.
Stephen Stone is here. Good morning.
Hi, Stephen.
Janine says, thanks for the pork grinds comment. I don't mind the porky flavor either. The Clancy's brand at Aldi's and even Great Value and Max at Walmart are only fried pork skin, sea salt, maybe natural smoke. There you go.
Oh, those are good. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Jolene wants to know how much iodine we use daily. So we get a 2% Lugol's iodine, and we each get 8 to 10 drops a day. Now, 2 is probably what you really need. That's what Dr. Barry recommends, is probably 2 a day. We go much heavier than that because we have found we actually like that. Yeah, thumbs up for iodine. My phone is really watching my thumb today.
Yeah.
We find we feel better on 8 to 10 each. So she gets 8 to 10 drops. I get 8 to 10 drops. I put it in our coffee usually. But 2 is probably for a lot of people enough. If not, up it to 4, up it to 6. If you have too much iodine, your body just filters it out.
Yeah.
So as long as your kidneys are working properly, like, it's just going to filter it out. But if you don't get enough iodine, you can struggle. So start with maybe 2, maybe up it to 4, maybe try 6, maybe go as like we do 8 to 10.
Yeah, kind of depends on your body and whatnot. We even give our puppy dog iodine. I actually put it in her food to help her thyroid. But yeah, it's a wonder thing, man.
Mm-hmm. Refined Me says, back when I first started supplementing iodine, did a bunch of research and read that nascent iodine is more bioavailable. I have never even heard of that. Been using it for years, has no color. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, Dr. Barry has never talked about that one. I'll have to ask and see if he knows anything about that one.
Curious to see what he comes up with all this.
Yeah, be interesting to see.
Yeah.
John was on a sad diet. I was a regular as Sheldon Cooper. Now it's anywhere from 0 to 9 days between movements with no discomfort. There have been 2 to 3 days in a row with the urge to go, but no joy and no cramps.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I mean, you guys, your body can actually go a long time if there's nothing to expel. We have all been brainwashed, honestly, to believe you should be having multiple movements a day.
Yeah.
Like, you need these big, healthy, fiber-filled movements. No, you don't. There's no research to support that. But that's all the people that tell you got to have all your fiber. That's what they want you to do. So, just a thought. Janelle says, on that note, I'm going to wander in the kitchen and get my iodine fix.
There you go.
Sherry, last night you, Dustin, and Victor were talking about eating a stick of butter per day. Holy moly, I was calculating the cost of that. Even the cheap Walmart brand would break me. So here's the deal. We have a stick of butter a day in our coffee. Half a stick for the 2 of us. So each of us is getting a quarter stick there. Plus, I'm cooking food with butter. So by the time we're done, I'm using 3/4 of a stick to a stick a day between the 2 of us. So I get it.
Also, important thing here is I'm using the finger.
Uh-oh.
No, I mean, like, I think the thing is like, yeah, like, you know, maybe that's a lot of butter or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, I can't function without it, personally.
Yeah.
Like, with, like, hormones and, like, as you, like, go through all this stuff. So I only eat, like, usually 1 meal a day, maybe 2. So, but it's like, if I don't have butter, as, like, a lady, dude, I'm miserable.
She's
so I'd rather
struggling.
pay the money for the butter and not have to go to a doctor all the time or not feel like crap every day.
Yeah.
Like, so to me, it's worth it. But I think that's also for individually, like, just do the best you can.
Yeah.
So,
and, you know, you may not need as much butter, Sherry.
Exactly,
Like, you might feel better with less. So it's, you know, it's totally up to you.
Yeah.
So it's really just what you
do what you can. If you can afford it, cool. But, you know, maybe just try upping it a little and just see if it helps you. But
I will also say, I don't buy expensive butter. I would
we
love
buy
to,
the cheap stuff,
but I buy the cheap stuff because we ain't got the money for that. I was just explaining to you guys the whole thing with YouTube. Yeah. Shirley is here. Greetings to Shirley. We're glad to
Shirley.
see you. John Long is joining late. Good to see you,
Hey,
John.
John.
And he said, made the bread yesterday for the first time. Love it. I'm so glad. I'm glad that worked for you.
yes.
Love it. Let's see. Rick says he was listening to our live stream last night as he patched the roof. Love it. Lynn says, boy, you're not kidding about the butter, Sherry. I eat a ton of butter in between just butter and all the eggs I eat. Kind of crazy.
You can spend a fortune.
That's right. That's right. Especially with the way eggs are right now.
Yeah.
Jolene just made the bread recipe for a friend who just had surgery and wants to stay keto. She and her husband loved it. Great recipe for all to try. Well, thank you, Jolene.
Good deal.
Cheryl says the brand I'm using is Redmond Relight. Right. So I believe Redmond Relight, if you're getting the flavored kind with the sweetener in it, probably uses a cheaper form of stevia. And I also know that I think, unless they've reformulated, I know at one point they also had maltodextrin.
Yeah.
So it could be either or both of those things causing that for
Do you know if they would have like an unflavored one that maybe wouldn't have the stevia?
I don't know if Redmond Relight has an unflavored version or not. I haven't looked into it. But yeah, an unflavored electrolyte would be good. Or like I said, just make them yourself by ordering the individual ingredients according to my recipe. So
yeah.
One of those two things would be best. John says seed oils are super inflammatory. Ditch them ASAP. I agree.
You preach it.
And Rockin' Keto, Amy uses salty. That's what we use. It's awesome. Rick says, I think it's strange. I have no allergies yet avoid eating plants. Not even poison ivy bothers me.
Huh.
Yeah, that's great. And honestly, with as long as you've been carnivore, you probably built up so much tolerance that even the little bits don't bother you. And that's the thing. You get better about this stuff over time, usually. Your body heals because you can handle a little bit of inflammation, but you have basically none. So what little bits you get from things like that don't affect you.
Makes sense.
We're all just so riddled with inflammation of all different kinds, we just can't handle like anything. John says salty is the best. I agree.
It's delicious.
And Carrie says I have to look to see where I have the ebook from Chris Cooking Nashville to see the electrolyte recipe. Yeah, and if you need to, you can download it again. It's there. So, Amy's, can you do the noodle recipe with shrimp too? I can eat meat on Fridays during Lent, or I can't eat meat on Fridays during Lent, so no chicken. Yes, you can absolutely do it with shrimp. Shrimp or like a whitefish, like cod or something. Any of those options would work.
All of those work. Didn't you do your macaroni and cheese actually?
My original macaroni and cheese recipe I did with those noodles that I used to do was made with shrimp. And the chicken version was kind of based off what I was learning by doing that original recipe I did with shrimp. So yeah, you could totally do shrimp. No problem at all. I would.
It's really good.
For this version where I'm doing the piping bags and everything, I would actually suggest using raw shrimp. I did cooked shrimp when I did the original version, but I would suggest using raw shrimp so that it emulsifies and it just cooks together better as pasta. So, but yeah, you can totally do it with shrimp or, like I said, fish. Anything
cod
like
or something like that.
Yep, that would totally work. John says it only looks like something you can eat all of, but when the protein is in place of carbs, that's rarely the case. Looks can be deceiving. Absolutely.
Oh, so true, man.
So many of my recipes are that way. Nancy is here. Good morning, Nancy.
Hey, Nancy.
There's Aunt Kay. Sorry I'm late. We'll catch the replay. Had to bring my mom to a doctor's appointment. Well, I hope your mom is okay. No worries.
Yeah, good to see you.
Just Claire Marie is here. Woo! I caught a live. Hello from Yorkshire, UK.
Cool.
Love you guys. Thanks, Chris, for your amazing recipes. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
We're really hoping to get over to the UK sooner than later, maybe play some shows. I have only ever been over there once, and I got to go to multiple locations. We were in London. I was in Bath. I was in a couple of other. I'm sure I'm probably saying that wrong. I was in a few other places. I can't remember offhand right now, but I was in a duo at one point with a guy, and we went over there for the Americana Folk Festival and played some shows, played some pubs. I had the greatest fish and chips of my life. And this is before I knew what keto was, so I was eating all the things I could find. But in London, we had some steak and kidney pies. Man. Just such a fun trip. I'd love to take Ash over there and just go see the UK. And I've got some friends that I know in Ireland as well. So we had intended when I was over there to actually fly to Ireland and spend a couple of days, but we weren't able to make it out to there. So, but we would love to go tote around the UK for a bit, play some shows.
Yes.
So, just Claire Marie, if you know places looking to book a country act, you let us know. We would love to come over there and maybe we'll share a steak with you somewhere along the way. That'd be fun. Rick says, let the lizard loose. Yes, indeed.
Nice.
John says, have meat treats in the fridge to deal with cravings and excessive hunger between meals when first starting on keto carnivore. Great.
It's awesome, man.
Great advice. Absolutely. Donna says, can't get allulose in Canada. Yeah, I know it's really weird because Canada doesn't actually let them sell it. Now, there are ways that I know people have worked around that, but I'm not sure what those are. So I know that's a bummer. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Gotta love government, right?
Yeah.
Steven says, made the funnel cakes with keto chow mint chocolate. It was the bomb.
Oh,
you need to try it. That does sound really good.
Amazing.
Nancy says, can you explain how to join your community? Yep. Just go to the description box below this video, or you can go to chriscookingnashville.com and there's a page for it. There is a link. You click it, and it brings up the Mighty Networks, and you click join the community.
It's called the band.
Yep, it's called the band, and it's through a Mighty Networks group. And once you have joined, you can get the app on your phone. You can have it on your desktop, whatever. And you go in there, and on the left-hand side, once you've joined, there's all different spaces. And so there's different things in each one. And you can message other members. It's really cool. It's like a little miniature Facebook.
Yeah.
Is kind of what it's like. So, but it's all just us and Chris Cooking Nashville stuff. So yeah, just go to the description box below the video here, or go to my website, find the link, and you click it, and it'll take you right there, and you can join.
Yeah.
And we would love to have you in there, Nancy.
We have lots of great people.
Yes.
Really cool community.
Absolutely. And we're going to be doing some new cool stuff in there. I'm starting to work on some ideas for things we can do for you guys. So
yeah.
John says, a weird thought popped into my head. Potato pancakes and pierogies using your carnivore mash as a base. Yes, I've thought about it too. So the potato pancakes, Cindy DeManch has actually done that with leftover mashed potatoes. The faux potatoes that I do. So yeah, so that one works. The pierogi is a little bit harder to solve, but I'm working on it. Margaret says, love you guys, love this community. I got to go have a good one. Bye, Margaret. Have a great day. Care. We love you. Janelle says, just ordered up a fried grandpappy to make some of the fried recipes like funnel cakes. Thinking of having two, one for sweet, one for meat and savory recipes. That's a great idea. I'm looking for a company who would like to send me a deep fryer of some kind to review. I would. If you guys know of a deep fryer company that I should reach out to, let me know. Mm-hmm. I would love to have a deep fryer. Totally. And she's also buying suet to render to fry and tallow.
Oh, sweet.
Great idea.
That's awesome.
Love it. We'll get back to comments in a second, but I wanted to talk to you guys about what we're talking about here, being unprepared for change. So I was sitting here. I still didn't have my live stream up on YouTube when I was doing Keto Crusade last night. So I did this last night after Keto Crusade before I left my little YouTube studio here. And I was like, man, I am so unprepared for tomorrow's live stream. And that's what clicked in my head of, are you feeling unprepared? And I was like, yeah, I'm feeling unprepared. But I got thinking about how many new people we have had popping into the chats and how many new people came on Keto Crusade last night, like all this stuff. And I realized a lot of us are feeling really unprepared when change is coming into our life, especially if we're going to go keto and carnivore. And I was like thinking about, okay, so what do we do to prepare for that? Like when you're feeling unprepared, what do you do? So I'm going to tell you guys what I do. Let Ash talk about what she does when we're feeling unprepared for something we know is coming. And then I'd love to get some feedback from you guys in the chat maybe about like, what do you do? Mm-hmm. What are you doing to prepare? Let us know. So I'm a research guy. I want to know everything about this. I'm going to go watch 100 hours worth of YouTube videos. I'm going to learn things top to bottom, be totally obsessed.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And it's all I'm going to talk about to Ash every time we sit down to dinner for the next, 2 weeks is like, I was watching this video and so said this and blah, 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 blah. I mean, this was a months-long process. Every day I'd come home from work and I'd be like, well, I was patrolling, doing security. I was listening to this Dr. Barry live stream in the background, like a podcast, and he was talking about da-da-da-da-da, and we'd be like an hour into dinner, and I'm still just... about Dr. Barry and about carnivore and keto and all this. Like, that's what I did. That's how I prepare myself. I research, and I try to learn everything top to bottom and inside and out. Now, I'm not saying all of you should do that. I'm saying that's what works for me. But when you're feeling unprepared for something you're about to come upon or something you're going to try to do to change your life, you're going to start keto, you're going to start carnivore, you're going to start a business, whatever it is, the first thing you need to know is one of the reasons you're feeling unprepared is because you probably don't know the ins and outs of what's in front of you. It's hard to feel prepared when you don't know what you're unprepared for. It's one thing if it's like, okay, well, here's all the stuff that's coming and here's what I need to do and here's the solutions. I'm not sure what it's going to feel like to do that, but I at least know what it is. It's a completely different feeling of being unprepared when you're like, I don't know what's coming, I don't know what it's going to feel like, and I don't even know where to start. That crippling unpreparedness is one of the biggest things that I think causes people to stumble and fail. Because they don't know how to go into things with the right mindset because they're not sure what's going to happen. So when you start keto and you're feeling completely unprepared and suddenly keto flu hits you and you're feeling terrible, you don't even know why you're feeling terrible. So what's the response? Well, you panic. And I don't know what's going on, but this isn't working for me. And then people quit. And instead of pushing through it to get to the other side of the keto flu where then you feel amazing, they back off because it starts to feel bad. But they're unprepared for that, and they're feeling unprepared for that. And then it happens, and they're really unprepared for how to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So they panic and they take their foot off the gas. Well, if you're prepared for that because you've done research and you know what's coming and you go, I don't know what keto flu is going to feel like, but this is what I've heard about it. This is what I've read about it. Then when it starts to happen, you might go, oh, this is what it feels like. Okay, now what was in Chris's ebook? What was it he said? Right, I'm supposed to up my electrolytes. I might need to do a little bit more of this. I'm going to do some of this. That's going to help. I'm going to try that. You do it, and suddenly I feel a little better. I'm maybe not 100%, but I'm feeling a little better. But Chris said if I just push through this, it's going to go away after I get through the sugar withdrawals over the first week or two. Mm-hmm. So you hang in there, you get to the other side, and you go, man, I'm so glad I read that ebook, and I'm glad I had this information. That's why I wrote that ebook. Mm-hmm. Because people need this, right? It's being prepared for what you're about to do. Meal plans, grocery lists, understanding what foods you might need, understanding a little bit of the scientific and medical research that supports keto or carnivore. These are ways you can be prepared. And if you're saying, I'm keto, I'm going to try carnivore for the first time, well, research what is it like to switch from keto to carnivore. Just like Patricia and Jolene and all these people who are in the comment section that ask us questions or comment on things, or I'm trying this, or I'm trying that, or any of this stuff. When Jolene's like, I'm going carnivore for the first time, and she's like, what do I need to do to be prepared? She's doing exactly what she needs to do by asking someone else who's been through this, what do I need to be prepared for? Mm-hmm. Right? So feeling unprepared is because we haven't done the inspective research to say, well, what maybe is in front of me? Mm-hmm. What am I going to need to know? And even if it's not perfect and I don't really have a good understanding of it, because you're never going to know until you've been through it yourself. But even if that's the case, prepare the best you can by at least knowing as much as you can about what's coming and doing that research. And so I think sometimes it's almost like maybe it's better to put off starting something just a little. I'm not saying put it off for 6 months. Put it off a couple more days if you like, I need to do a little bit of research the next night or two after work so that I know what I'm about to do. I need to take a day before I start to go to the grocery store and stock up on the right stuff so I'm not trying to do it in the midst of not knowing what I'm doing. Like, set up the plan of here's the research I need. At least, just, and again, not 6 months. That's using research to be prepared as an excuse for 6 months of not doing something is not good. No excuses. No victims, no excuses. But take a day or two and set aside some time of, I'm going to intentionally go research this so I don't feel unprepared. Maybe take another day of, I'm going to go out and get the things I need. I'm going to order online the stuff that I need. I'm going to set myself up for success. That's how you stop feeling unprepared. Because then when you go in on day one, you're like, here's my bacon in the fridge, here's my hot dogs, here's my extra electrolytes, here's the research I've done on what it's going to feel like to do this. And you're going to learn as you go. You're never going to be fully prepared. But you're going to feel less unprepared by intentionally taking a little time to get that info in your brain, have the resources you need, and set yourself up. I feel like so many people, they get all excited about, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to lose 1 million pounds, right? And they dive into it not knowing what they're doing, and they very quickly feel unprepared. Yeah. Or maybe they feel unprepared ahead of time and they still dive into it without doing the research to feel prepared. So if you're feeling unprepared, go intentionally do things for a day or two to just get yourself set up to not feel that way. You will be far more successful by just intentionally fighting that unpreparedness before you go ahead and do day one. And then you got to learn as you go, and you got to keep updating it, your unpreparedness issues, right? Like, okay, well, now this is the next thing. I feel a little unprepared for that. Okay, cool. Go research it. Get the information. Intentionally pinpoint and target that feeling of being unprepared. And, I mean, you're like a sniper. Take that out. Right? Every time there's something that's like, oh, I feel wholly unprepared for that, go do a little research. And this is the thing that I think I get very confused sometimes, because I get messages, comments, emails, whatever, people saying, well, I don't even know what blah, blah, blah is, right? Like, I'll talk about something in a video. I'll talk about a recipe I'm doing, like fritters, hush puppies. People are like, I don't even know what that is. Okay, I get that. Not people don't have all knowledge of all things. They don't always know all the time. I totally get that. What they do have, though, is the ability to live in a society with a device that's wirelessly connected to the collective knowledge of the entire human race of all recorded history. And it's like, pull out your phone and go to Google. It's very simple to find information. Like if you go, what is a fritter? Hit search. You're going to get a whole page of results. You're going to get millions of results of what a fritter is. Recipes, videos, history of it. Like all of these different things. You're going to get all of that information wirelessly accessible to your fingertips. Mm-hmm. It is so easy to prepare yourself for something. It is so easy to track down information that tells you what something is. But if you sit on the couch watching a YouTube video and you expect all the information to be handed to you by someone else, mm-hmm. you are always going to be disappointed, and you are always going to feel unprepared because that person is not tailoring their video to every single specific piece of knowledge you don't yet have. They're putting out the best information they can, but you have to take the responsibility to fix your own unpreparedness by using Google, using the things that are in front of you at your fingertips. I remember I worked in higher education, and students would come to me and they'd go, I have no idea how to fill out this form. I have no idea what this thing is. I don't know what my social security number is. I don't know how to find this information, blah, blah, blah. And college students would come with an attitude, like a real serious attitude to my office, and want me to fix all these things. And I would go, do you have a cell phone? And be like, yeah, go ahead and pull it out for me. And they would. And I'm like, okay, go ahead and open up Google. And they would. And I said, you see the little search box right there? And they go, yeah. And I go, did you know you can type something in that you don't know and hit the button and it will search the collective knowledge of the entire human race and give you the answer you're looking for? And they would just get this dumb look on their face. And I'd be like, if you have any more questions, let me know. And I'm not trying to be rude, but I was kind of being a smartass because I'm making the point of it's not my job to solve your lack of knowledge. I'm happy to answer a question, but it's not the responsibility of someone else to fix a lack of knowledge. It's someone else's ability to provide the information that will fill the gap. But we as people have to take the responsibility of finding the gaps in our knowledge and then going and doing the work to find what the answer is. Not because I don't want to help people. Of course I want to help people, and I'm happy to direct them to any knowledge I have, but I don't know what you don't know. So I can't tell you preemptively everything you're going to need to know. So if you're feeling unprepared, don't sit in that unpreparedness and just let it cripple you with fear. Look at that and say, okay, so what are the things that I don't know? Or if I don't know what I don't know, who are the people who might know? Mm-hmm. Go research. And then when you go, wait a minute, what is that thing they're talking about? Google it. Use the YouTube search box. There's all kinds of ways that will empower you to feel in control of your diet and in control of these changes you're taking in your life. And that's the thing that I think makes people struggle so much, because they're not prepared for this, but they don't feel like they have in any way been empowered to go find out how to do this. And I'm telling you guys are smart. You are capable. You have access to the knowledge. You just have to go find it. And you don't know what you don't know. So I'm not blaming anyone for not having the information. But if you feel the empowerment of, I can go seek out information, I can go watch some things, learn some of this, and then I'm smart enough to say, okay, well now this is the part I didn't understand. Well, go Google it. Go YouTube search it. Go whatever. And find that information, and suddenly you take complete control of making the changes that you know are good for you. And you're not just making changes because someone else said to do it. You're making changes because you went and did the research to know why you believe that's the right decision. That's a big difference. That's a huge shift in perspective. I've seen so many people who say, well, I want to do such and such, but I'm not seeing the results I want, and now I'm questioning whether I should do it or not. And it's like, do you believe that carnivore, for example, is good for your body? Well, I don't know. So-and-so said it was. Right. But did you do the research to know why they're saying that? Like what is it that I feel like carnivore is not making me lose weight. Maybe I should try something else. What are you going to try based on information of why carnivore is not helping you lose weight? Well, I don't really know. Right, so you're making blind decisions out of feeling unprepared. And that's what leads you in all of these pinball sort of decisions where you're just bouncing around everywhere, and you can never target and never direct your intention in one specific place to achieve the results you're looking for. It's that feeling of unpreparedness and sort of panic reacting to it. I've done this, so I'm not preaching at anyone and trying to be critical. I've done this in my life, and I had to figure out why I was feeling so held back from the things I was trying to do to change my life. Honestly, my wife is one of the people who was really like, hey, and she put me in my place like, you got to figure this out. Knock it off. And I was like, okay, you're right. And it took me some time to learn. But I want to help you guys, and I want you to feel empowered, and I want you to feel like you have the strength to do all of this stuff that will prepare you and make you feel confident. So then I'm not losing weight on carnivore. Oh, wait, I heard so-and-so say this. I'm going to research that. Research, and you go, oh, right. This makes a lot of sense. I now feel good about it. I'm just going to hang out, let my body heal. Maybe I'll play with some things, in the next 6 weeks or so, see how I feel. I'm going to check my cortisol levels. I'm going to think about my sleep. I'm going to think about, am I getting too much dairy? Maybe play with higher fat, lower fat, eat a little more, eat a little less, see how I feel. Maybe add a little bit of physical activity. Like, there's all these things I can do. Now I'm prepared to tackle it one piece at a time as an N=1 experiment, and I'm going to figure out what was going on, and I don't need someone to come in and do a YouTube video that tells me exactly why I'm failing, and when I can't find it, I'm going to panic and then consider giving up on carnivore. Nope, here's my tools. I'm prepared to one step at a time deal with the issue that I'm in the midst of. That is a completely different level of confidence about how to change your life. And it's all because you've taken the time to prepare yourself to the best of your abilities. And this is not a perfect solution. There's still times I come across stuff and I'm like, man, I'm unprepared for figuring this out. But I go and I do research to try to figure out what it is I don't know. I go and I look at the research studies in Dr. Barry's videos when he posts things, and I'm like, what is he actually saying? What does this mean? I go and I read the study that he links to, because I want to know. I want to have the confidence for myself. I'm not going to blindly, I love Dr. Barry. I'm not going to just blindly believe him when he says, here's a thing and here's the stuff that proves it. I'm going to go read the stuff that proves it. Not because I don't believe him, but because I like to know for myself. Because that makes me prepared. And you guys might find other things that make you prepared. What is it that's important to you? How do you feel prepared? But go out and intentionally do that, and don't think that you're not smart enough to understand these things. You're not smart enough to figure it out. It might take some time to research and learn. We're all learning and growing. I don't have the knowledge now that I will hopefully have in the future. I'm going to continue to learn. We all have to do that. You learn, and then one day you're gone. That's the way it works.
Yep.
That's what it means to be a human being. So that's my thoughts. I want you guys to be able to feel prepared, and when you are feeling unprepared for the changes in your life, start looking into it and start finding, what can I do to make myself feel more confident and more prepared for this. And when you come across things you don't know, go research it. And of course, you are welcome to reach out to me. You are welcome to join the private community, email us, whatever it is, however it is you want to try to get a message to me. Hey, Chris, this is the thing I'm looking at. Do you know anything about this? I'm happy to do that, because that's doing research. That's you guys learning. And if I don't know an answer, I'm happy to share an answer with you. So, and again, it's not that I'm in any way criticizing people for what they don't know, because I don't know what I don't know either. When you come across something that you can see as a gap in your knowledge, go seek it out. Because it will make you so much more independent in taking care of your own life and your own health. And then you don't need me to make you healthy. You don't need Dr. Barry to make you healthy. You can use the resources people like us provide, recipes, medical information, whatever, and then you can go apply it in a common sense format into what you're doing in your life, so you have the control of your own health. That's taking back information from drug companies, big food, big pharma, government, all these things that are like, oh, you need this because it's going to fix all your problems. Don't worry about the fine print. Just trust us. Don't live that way. Don't let those places set the way your brain is going to work for everything else in your life too. You have been sold a bill of goods that says this is the way you do this, and we are recovering from that. We are waking up. We are getting out of that. We're fixing it. We're learning to cook our own foods. We're learning to go to a grocery store and pick out things that are better for us. We are learning why certain things in our bodies do certain things the way they do. And the more knowledge you have, the more prepared you are, and the more independence and empowerment you have in taking charge of your own health. That takes a lot of power away from all the people who have profited off of your sickness for decades. Those are my thoughts. I'm done preaching. I'm going to let my wife jump in.
You done did a good sermon.
Did I?
Yeah.
Pass the plate.
Pass the plate. Honey, I totally agree with everything that you say. I think it's awesome. A couple points that popped into my head that I think would be maybe good to share.
Yeah.
I've heard it said so many times that knowledge is power. And I actually really think what that really means is knowledge is confidence.
Yes.
If you are approaching something in life, no matter what it may be, and if you have done enough research to where you have the knowledge, that means that in your mind, you basically already have a plan and you have the confidence of knowing, well, this is exactly what I need to do. And that is a really great way to approach anything versus just basically being like, I don't know, I'm just going to show up. Like, you know, and sure, maybe sometimes with that you'll get lucky, but realistically it's not. And I think like a really good example of this, to put it into words that like maybe Chris or I are very familiar with, maybe you guys will pick up on, is we hear people talk about stage fright all the time, being musicians. And so it's like, you know, people get up on stage, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous to do the show or to get in front of people or whatever. And the truth of it is like we all start there, right? We all really don't know what we're doing. We're nervous. Maybe we don't have a lot of confidence because we haven't really done this a lot.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, like Chris and I don't get stage fright at all. And you're like, well, why? It's not because we're special. It's not because we're great. Nope. It's because I have exercised this muscle in my body, and I have so many years of knowledge and experience that when we go up there, it's on and we're good. I have put in, yes?
I was going to say stage fright is a great example of
It
that.
is.
It really is a great example because when you first start out, when you get the nerves and the natural adrenaline rush of getting on stage, you lose the ability to do things at the same level.
Yep.
And so suddenly now you're panicking because you can't do what you could do sitting in your bedroom by yourself.
Yep.
Now you can't do it on stage in front of people and accurately play and sing and do the things you got to do. But you got to push through it, and you have to exercise that over and over and over, and you get the knowledge about it. Now when we step up on stage, I still get the same adrenaline rush. I still have the same heightened sense of like, not nerves, but kind of the heightened awareness of everything. Like, you know, it's kind of that fight or flight response. But I've actually taught myself to be able to play better and be more focused. So you actually get in the zone like an athlete and you step on stage and you perform. Great analogy.
Yeah. And I think even if you guys don't play music, this applies to everything, including your health journey. So the other thing, though, which is like what athletes do, businesses, and we've kind of talked about this a little before. So your health is basically a journey. This is something that you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. This is not a fad diet. This is not something we do for 30 days and then we're like, oh, okay, whatever, don't do that again. No, like this is a lifestyle. So with that, you know, knowledge, right, and that belief of understanding, yes, I just can't eat carnivore for 30 days and it will fix all my problems and then I can go back to eating the Twinkies and the Doritos and all that kind of stuff. It's like, no, this is a lifestyle, and even if you fall off the wagon, you get back on, you do your thing. So with that and knowing that knowledge is power, I think something that a lot of people try to do is they try to fix anything and everything overnight. So when they approach this, they just go all in, and then that just doesn't set them up to succeed. So that's a big factor of people that are just unprepared for the change because they've never done it. So how would you know what to expect? And unless you've gone on stage and played in front of people, how would you know what that feels like? If you've never done carnivore before, if you've never done keto before, how would you know what your body reacts to and doesn't? Like, you have to experiment. So with that being said, I think breaking things up into smaller chunks is something that is very helpful in making sure that you are prepared for change. So don't waste around, but like, for example, start small. Maybe you're on a standard American diet and you're thinking about keto or carnivore. Okay, why don't you start with something small, like just get rid of like the processed sugar in your diet and do that for a week or two. And while you're doing that, why don't you go to Dr. Barry's channel? Why don't you go see what recipes are out there on the internet? Maybe you join a private community, like Chris Cooking Nashville's the band, where you're like, let me go talk to people, let me ask questions, let me do the research, and let me just figure out from then what is the next step, and then you implement that one step, and you just keep you have that way though you're starting to do it, but you're obtaining a goal in mind, and so that way you're putting it into action, but you're not diving all the way in. Right? You're getting the knowledge as you go. So that way, as you make these little tweaks and changes, you actually are prepared for the change. And that will keep you from essentially, falling. And a really great analogy of this, which I think is just, can I use ancestrally appropriate?
Yes.
Can I use that term? Maybe it will give you a thumbs up. But if you think about it, as humans, I kind of feel like, oh, yeah, see, you got it.
There we go.
He always, I never get it. He always gets it. But,
it's because I got that big old redneck thumb.
Yeah. But, like a really good point, I think, here is like if you actually break this down, though, with what we're saying, we are designed as humans, right? When we are born into this world, we live, we're born, then we start to crawl, right? Very slowly. Then from there, you kind of start to wobble, okay? Right? You get up on your feet, you're not too sure. Eventually, you'll be able to walk. You'll be able to have a bike with training wheels. You take the wheels off the bike. You can run. And then eventually we die. So, but do you see that whole process? Like, we clearly just don't, we're not born into this world and we're like, let's go run, a marathon and ride a bike. And it's like, no, like, we have like these steps where we take things one at a time and we build on the skills and the knowledge that we've already obtained. That's how we're designed. That's how the world works. So with diets, especially, and health things, I feel like so many people can just want to get skinny quick. They want to dive in. They want to do all this right now. And it's like, well, are you ready for the change? Maybe you haven't built the muscles. Maybe you don't have the knowledge in these areas. So those are just the points that I wanted to add on.
Yeah.
Also, this may be a little high-techy for people, if that's really a word, but I wanted to share this because I'm sure a lot of people maybe know about this, or maybe your grandkids or your kids are, trying to talk you into it. But we have Google, we have the internet, we have YouTube, we have books, we have so much in front of us. And I know a lot of people that were very busy. And so maybe you're like, yeah, I want to, eat cleaner and I want to do this, but guys, I don't have the time to watch all these videos. I don't have the time to watch the recipes. Let me introduce you to this really cool app called ChatGPT. And so while Chris was talking, I just thought that I would go ahead and punch something in here for an example, because I'm a very busy lady. I'm sure everyone's watching is busy. I love to learn things, but I don't always maybe have 25 minutes to watch a YouTube video. I don't have the time. So how can you grow in your knowledge if you don't if you can't always tune into like a Chris Cooking Nashville live stream or whatever?
Right.
So I literally just asked ChatGPT. I downloaded the app. It's free. I literally just went in here and punched in. How can you feel prepared for change on a carnivore or keto diet? And it gave me 10 tips to help me handle the change. So one was educate yourself. Understand the differences between carnivore and keto. Solid.
Right.
Know what foods are allowed and which ones to avoid. Learn about potential adaptation symptoms like the keto flu and how to manage them. It talks about stocking your kitchen.
I don't know where the thumbs down just came from.
Thumbs up for stocking your kitchen. But, this is very helpful. This is literally giving me tips on like, here's what you need to know. Here's how you stock your kitchen. Here's an electrolyte balance, like how you can make sure that, you're getting what you need. Here's meal planning and batch cooking to help you be prepared to go on to this diet. That has a thing in here if you want to understand your macros if you're doing keto. Have a support system is one of the big things, which is invaluable. Listen to your body. Be patient with the adjustment period. Eat when hungry. It has all of these tips where it's like it's helping me be prepared to literally jump into a keto or carnivore diet. Plan for eating out in social situations. And it gives all these little bullet points underneath each one of these. Focus on non-scale victories. Give yourself grace. This is a lot of info right here, guys.
And that all happened within the space of about 5 seconds.
If that. So, that's not a be-all, end-all for whatever, but I'm just saying, like...
It's a good starting point.
But, like, what if it could give you some tips and tricks on, like, oh, maybe this is why I'm on a weight stall. Okay, now let me go to Chris Cooking Nashville or Dr. Barry or insert whoever, and now I know that I need to basically be prepared for this change that I need to make, so I can do that and then see if it works.
What I think is really cool, too, ChatGPT is a great resource for this kind of thing. You talk to ChatGPT like it's a person. And it learns about you. The more you use it, the more it knows what you care about, and it like remembers kind of your profile, as it were, like the questions you ask, the things you're interested in, and it can adjust what it says to you based on the kinds of things you need to know. And so it over time, it gets better at helping you find the information you're looking for. And you just say, whatever it is that you need. Like, I'm looking for videos about whatever health issue related to the keto or carnivore diet. And it will give you options, right? And you go, and so then you can respond to that and say, these options are great. I really prefer videos that are this length or shorter. If you can find any, I really like videos by such and such creator. Can you refine these results? And it will. Like, it will do all of that stuff in a really smart way. So if you're not using ChatGPT to help take control of your own life and your own health as a personal assistant, honestly, is what it kind of works as. Yeah. You should totally do that. We use it like every day.
Yeah, and I'm just saying,
every day, just to help things.
It's just really quick the way that it operates, and if you don't feel comfortable or whatever, okay, but it's literally the same thing as texting. But like, if you're like, I have kids and grandkids and a family and I have all this, like, how am I supposed to learn all this? Or if you're just feeling stuck and you're like, I don't even know where I'm supposed to turn to right now to understand blah 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 blah, within 2 seconds you can have information that's pulled from everywhere right here, and it's just handy tools. But I think that's all the sermon that I have to give, but hopefully that helps people to...
Yeah, and if you guys have comments, thoughts, questions about any of this, drop it in the chat and we'll see what we can do. So
yeah.
I just wanted to take a minute and highlight. So Lacey gave us a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, friend. She says, I planned to do this before the last topic. It's not much, but I just wanted to support your efforts. You were a huge blessing to me personally. God bless you. Lacey, even if you feel like it's not much, it means a lot to us.
It really does.
I really, it's not even the $20. I mean, the $20 is great. Don't get me wrong. We appreciate that because it does support us financially doing what we do. But it's so much more than just that. It's the meaning behind you being willing to give something that you have to help support the work we do. And it's what that means as far as here's what I'm doing and the impact it's having on someone else, which is fuel for the fire of why I keep doing it, even though I'm putting in 60 to 80 hours a week and I'm doing all of this stuff that costs money and I'm taking all this time and going through the stress and dealing with internet trolls. And it's like, why do I do all that? Because people like you say what you do blesses me. There's nothing better I could do with my life. So even if it's hard, I keep doing it. And you guys doing stuff like this not only supports us a little bit financially, but it also supports us spiritually and emotionally.
Definitely, yeah.
Which makes a huge difference. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Lacey.
And Beth also gave us a $9.99 super chat.
Oh, thank you, Beth.
Thank you so much, Beth. We appreciate it so very much.
Y'all are so nice.
Lewis Stone is here. Almost made it live. See you on replay. That's all right, Lewis. We're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Sherry says, thanks. I was inquiring about the crust off to my other morning podcast. See you in 30 minutes. That's awesome, Sherry. Yes, the crust is carnivore, but you would never know.
It's really good.
Yes. Holly wants to know, Chris, could I use my Dash egg cooker to make your rice recipe? The Dash egg cooker uses steam to cook the eggs. Yeah, I don't see why not. If you got a container that you can throw the eggs in there and steam them till they're hard cooked, go for it. That's a great idea.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, that is a great idea. And there's that chicken flour video Janelle dropped in there we were talking about. That's awesome. Shelly says, I use my Harvest Right freeze dryer to make my own egg white powder. That is great. I wish I could get them to send me a freeze dryer. I've reached out to multiple companies about a freeze dryer because I would love to experiment and give you guys some ideas for those of you that have freeze dryers. I don't have $3,000 sitting in my account to buy one. And every company I reach out to goes, here's a 10% off coupon. We'd love to work with you. And I'm like, I appreciate that. But even with a 10% off coupon, I ain't anywhere close to affording it. So that's awesome, though, that you have
one. Like, that's what's up.
That's great.
Great.
Kitchen Witch is here. In some cases, I replace pork panko with grated Parmesan. Might not work in all cases, but yeah, that's a great idea. So if you don't have chicken flour and you need something really quick and it's a smaller amount of it, some recipes you can throw in some Parmesan cheese and get a very similar effect. Now, you will get a lot more flavor out of a Parmesan. So if it's okay and you like that flavor in whatever recipe it is, awesome. If not, the chicken flour doesn't really have much of a taste. So But yeah, it kind of depends on the recipe. It's great. Beth says, I've totally used the egg whites with the lecithin, and it fluffed up just fine for me. Yeah,
cool.
Some people have better results with it than others. I think some of it has to do with the strength of the mixer you're using, and it can just take a long time if your mixer is not super strong. But yeah, some people have figured out to make it work. They can still make it with the lecithin. So I have never had any of the egg white powder with the lecithin, but if you have some and you experiment with it, let us know what you guys
we're
find.
Curious.
So. And Janelle is so sweet. Thank you for supporting CCN. All of you who are doing things like, sending us super chats and super stickers and joining groups. We just appreciate all of you.
Definitely.
Ahmed is from the Kingdom of Bahrain.
Cool.
Very cool.
That's awesome,
That's
man.
the first time we've ever had somebody from Bahrain here.
Welcome.
At least that I know of.
That's pretty awesome.
Awesome. Love how we can connect with people all over the world of all different backgrounds and different locations, different faiths, different systems of looking at things, different perspectives. I mean, what a different cultural norms. Like, what a cool way that we can just
it's pretty sick.
Connect with everyone. John says, the Dr. Berry.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes. I'd love to get Dr. Berry and Ash in a video where both of them are using the finger at the same time, because I've seen both of them do it, and I'm like... I know what that means.
To my knowledge, we both say BS a lot, and we both use the finger.
Yep.
We do it in love, man. Just helping people out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Jolene says, butter and eggs are better than the junk food habit. It's worth it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Agreed.
I totally agree. Let's see. Holly says, I don't tolerate cow milk products, so I add fat using bacon grease.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, excellent. And that's the thing, you can use bacon grease. You can render out beef tallow. If you have like steaks that have extra fat on the outside you're not going to eat, trim that fat, and you can save it in a bag in the freezer, and then when you get a whole bunch of it, you throw it in a pot over a really low heat and render all that beef fat out. Just cook it on a real low heat until basically all the liquid fat has come out, and it leaves these crispy brown fat bits, which you can salt, and they taste very good. You can eat them, by the way. And then you take the liquid fat, you pour it in a container, stick it in the fridge, now you've got beef tallow.
Yum.
Yeah, really, really good.
I'm a fan.
You can use it to cook your eggs. You can melt it and pour it over things, add more fat. You can just eat it by a spoonful if you like it that much. You can totally do that. Love it. John's off to Costco to see if they have turkey eggs. Hopefully he can switch to his phone. If it doesn't work, Godspeed. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
April wants to know, do you have a brand of butter powder you recommend for using in the Hush Puppies? Yes, I use the Hoosier Hill Farm brand, and I think I linked it in the Hush Puppy video. If I didn't, let me know. I can send you a link, and if you use my Amazon link, I do get a tiny little bit of a kickback. Doesn't change the price for you, but it helps me. It's another great way you guys can support the channel. If you go to my Amazon link, any of them, click the link and sign into Amazon, you can either buy that product I'm linking to, or even if you don't buy that product, if you just click my link and sign in, anything on Amazon you buy within the next 24 hours, I get a small credit for the fact that, it's pennies, but still, I get a small credit that helps the channel, and it doesn't change anything for you. So if you're going to go shop on Amazon, just use any of my Amazon links, click it, sign in, and then you can just go buy whatever it is you want from Amazon. And it just helps us. It's a free way for you to help the channel, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Beverly says, can get allulose in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. It is ordered in, was on a list, bought 2 when my name came up.
Oh,
very cool. Well, there you go.
I like it.
I know that's a weird thing to try to get around up there, so. And Janelle says I sound like her with obsessive research.
Nice.
My wife is a very patient woman with it, that's all I can say. Lynn says, we just may need a new group or club just for obsessive researchers. I could be the president of that club, but I love it. Research on.
Nice.
Yes. Patricia says, and even with a lot of research, keto and carnivore can work differently. N equals 1, and that's been frustrating for me. And then I do more research. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You always have to be learning, growing, and changing. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Jay also says here, I don't know what happened to my first comment, but I wanted to let you know that Wholesome Yum sells allulose to Canada. That's where I get mine.
Oh, sweet.
There you go.
Great.
Cool. Yeah.
See
And if anybody,
how helpful everyone is?
and if anybody else has any other ideas about that, feel free to drop them in here for people who are looking for options. So we have a video coming out this week where allulose is going to be really important. Do you guys like?
Oh yeah.
Slushies.
I like slushies.
Electrolyte slushies coming this week.
Yeah.
Dr. Singleton is here. I'm a researcher and an immerser. Balanced it with letting go, trust God, relaxing, step out on faith, being okay with not doing it perfectly, and loving myself through it.
That's
and there
awesome.
You go.
That's great.
That's it. We just find that wave and ride it. John says, that's how I get keto recipes when I started. Search keto pizza crust recipe on YouTube. Exactly. If you're looking for a recipe, I wonder if anyone's created a recipe for, go to the YouTube search box. I have people all the time, do you have a recipe for? Go to the YouTube search box. Rather than waiting on me to see your comment or your email, yeah, thumbs up. Rather than waiting on me to see your comment, which might be a week later before I ever get around to it, just go to the YouTube search box, type in Chris Cooking Nashville and the recipe that you want to know if I have. If I've got it, it'll pop up. It's one of the benefits of your channel getting to the size that mine is. If you type in my name, all my stuff comes up, and if you type in my name and a specific recipe you wonder if I have one, it'll pop up. And I'm working on them all the time. And then if you don't see it, then you can message me and say, hey, I was looking for this, didn't see one. Do you have one I'm missing? And then if I say no, but that's a good idea, then I might be able to create one for you when I get a chance. So, yeah, that's how we can all work together on this. Lewis says, I guess I did make it. For me, preparation is key. I look into everything I hear and research it to find what works best for me, because what works for me might not work for you. Absolutely.
Awesome. Yep.
There is a general spectrum of proper human diet that pretty much just scientifically works for all humans. That's just the way it is, right? But there are subtleties along that spectrum that work different for different people. And finding where you exist and kind of enjoying your life on that spectrum somewhere is the whole key. And that's where doing this research comes in. Great point, Lewis. Janelle says, it sounds like teach a man to fish analogy. People need to try to educate themselves in order to keep learning. I agree.
Agreed, yeah.
It just gives you the control. So you don't have to rely on other people to help you figure out what's going wrong. You're smart. Just go figure it out, because it takes the power away from people who can then use their knowledge to manipulate you for their profit.
Preach.
Like drug companies. I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. I heard you.
Yeah,
Proud of you. Yeah,
I did. Lynn says, thank you, Google. I'm so happy I don't have to run to the library to find the answers I need like I had to do growing up. Absolutely.
That's true.
It's made it so easy.
Yeah.
Really. John says, I just got the craziest idea ever. Deep dish breakfast pizza, sausage crust stuffed with eggs, bacon, cheese, ham, and a pork roll.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds great, John.
I'm there, yeah.
Listen, you create the recipe and then you send it my way, and I'll do somebody else's recipe in my kitchen for once.
There you go.
That does sound really good, John.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Stacy says, I saved egg whites when we ate only the yolks and dehydrated them, and that's what I used in the Hush Puppies. That works really good. That's
cool.
great.
That's awesome.
Great idea. Lewis says, no matter how much research you do, there will be people who will tell you you're doing keto wrong, or you're not a real carnivore, you're not doing it right. I'm doing it right for me, so hush. Lewis, you are preaching.
Come on.
And you are preaching to the choir right now, because I have gotten so many... I don't even know how many thousands of people have told me I'm doing carnivore wrong over the last 2 years.
What? Yeah.
You're doing carnivore wrong. Okay, stop watching my channel, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. This goes back to that thing I've said. Do you want to help people? Do you want to be a douche? Don't beat people up if they're not doing it right. If you think something they're doing is causing a hindrance, it's causing a problem, politely try to help them. Explain why and be like, you're doing great. Have you considered this tweak? This might really help you. That's an appropriate way to help somebody. You're doing it wrong. Shut up. Stupid. I'm right there with you, Lewis. Tell those people to shut up. Lewis says he stopped using keto and carnivore when talking about the lifestyle. I say I'm on the KED diet, ketosis enhancing diet. It confuses the jacks just enough to keep them quiet. I like that.
Funny.
I like that. There's a tool for all you guys. John says, I'll never give up. Even when I don't get the results I'm looking for, I know if I go back to SAD, I will lose all the benefits I already have. Lower A1C, no type 2 meds, no constant joint pain. That's amazing. And what a great perspective. It's not always about getting more results. Sometimes it's about enjoying the ones you've already got. And remembering that that's an important thing too. What a great way to keep your mind focused on the positive things.
Definitely, yes.
That's great. John's a smart guy.
He is, man.
Stacy says, when prices were lower on butter last summer, I canned up a bunch. Boy, am I glad I did. I use butter in my coffee too.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great.
Way to do it.
Patricia says, waiting for Chris's cooking lessons. Not like you're busy or anything. So we're actually going to be having a meeting soon, hopefully, to start nailing out the place we're planning on filming. Mm-hmm. So we're definitely going to...
We're on it.
Yep, we're definitely working on it.
Mm-hmm.
John buys butter at Sam's, 20 pounds at a time, and freezes it. Usually don't pay attention to prices. They don't seem to fluctuate that much, unlike eggs.
Yeah,
we usually get, we go to BJ's, but we usually get butter in big bulk, and I keep it in the freezer and pull out a pound every 4, 5, 6 days.
Yeah, works.
So it's great. Jolene says, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, Jolene.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Rebecca is here, says, I've argued and fought with doctors most of my life. What I've found is as long as they see the results they want, they are happy. I quit explaining how I got there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Do it.
And she also says, when doctors ask, I tell them, then they write, patient goes against medical advice all over my chart, which when I was younger bothered me. Now I agree and laugh because I'm doing better. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's why research and being prepared and knowing why you're doing what you're doing is great, because then someone like a doctor who, meaning well, would talk you out of doing the thing that you know works best for you because they've been trained to, right? Not their fault. They've been trained to. They're just dudes and chicks, like Dr. Barry says. A doctor would take you off that path, but now you don't have to cave to it because you're like, nope, I've done the research. I'm good.
Yep. Knowledge
That's
is confidence. Love it.
Andy says, you guys are hitting every spot. I'm cooking up some beef and eggs and sitting down to lunch with you guys now. Awesome. Woo, you're making
Sounds
me
good.
You're making me hungry.
I know. Why, Andy, stop making me hungry.
That's right. That's right. John says, cooking with Dave makes recipes created by ChatGPT. He does. I've seen that, and it's pretty wild. And here's the thing. I've actually, just for fun, asked ChatGPT to create some recipes for me.
Yeah.
And then I go and I've tried making a couple, and I'm like, it definitely does not get it right all the
No.
time. Sometimes it comes up with cool stuff. A lot of times it does not get it right.
It's not meant for things like writing music, creating recipes, any of that kind of stuff. What it's made for is information.
Yeah.
So remember that. It's not supposed to do all this stuff for you. It's just to help you, point you in the right direction.
Yeah. Rebecca says it's sad most doctors don't see past their own hand. It's either their way or wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't even think they mean for it to be that way.
No.
I think they're coached into being that way in medical school and beyond. Like, I'm the doctor, do what I say. Because, and you have to understand, they've been told what they're taught is the truth, and they believe that. And they think if you're telling them that they're wrong, that you just think you're smarter than they are, and it's like, it's almost like you're coming from a place of arrogance. They don't realize that the whole system that trained them has been wrong for decades.
Right.
They've forgotten that because of society along the way. And so it's like, we honestly have to teach them now. Lies My Doctor Told Me, a great book you can buy, and then you can give it to your doctor and say, have you read this?
Yeah. Good stuff.
Dr. Barry talks about it, Ninja Tactics. Rebecca says, love your guys' show and what you're doing, and the recipes rock. Well, thank you, Rebecca. We're so glad you're here, and we love you.
Yeah.
John says, chicken flour is very versatile and easy to make. I agree. Lacey says, I made the chicken flour. It was great. I failed on prepping my chicken, though, going to make ground beef nuggets for chicken fried steak bites.
Yum.
Love
that sounds
it.
really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Lori says, made your chips, crackers, and noodles last night. Thanks. Used ground chicken for the noodles. My food processor is too weak for the chicken. Thanks. Loved it all. Totally understand, Lori. And yeah, that's the thing. If you're gonna do the chicken and you're gonna get the chunks of chicken like I do, I think you get a better result, but it is also a lot harder on the food processor. So I totally understand. As long as you're okay with them being a little spongier texture, you can use the ground chicken. I'm just really picky about texture. And so I use the chicken breast to get as much fat and connective tissue out of the mix as possible. That's just what's important to me. But you can totally use the ground chicken if you're okay with the texture change. So I'm glad you enjoyed the recipes.
Yeah.
Caleb's Carnivore Quest is here. Y'all make sure you go subscribe to Caleb. He is a 16-year-old carnivore, and he's doing really cool stuff. It's good to see you, buddy. How are you today?
Good to see you, Caleb.
Lacey says, does the monthly cost roll over each month, or can you do just 1 month at a time without it being a reoccurring charge? So, Lacey, if you want to do the private group, just 1 month, and you can go in there and sign up for it monthly, and then you can just stop it before it. I think it's set up to automatically charge you, but if you want, you can just stop it before it charges the next month.
Yeah.
So, but I don't have any control over that. The only thing I can do is I have it set up for a monthly payment, or you can choose to do a year and you get a discount and it does it for 12 months. But that's the only control that I have over it. But if
you can pay for a month and then
if you want to pay for a month and before you renew, cancel it, or whatever, like that's cool.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, that's totally cool.
Yeah.
We would just appreciate having you support.
Yeah.
Brian Fly Fisherman Dishes here says we are all individuals. What works for one doesn't always work for others.
Preach it.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Lacey says, just in the last week, I can already feel way less inflammation in my joints. Hopefully I can pick up my crochet hooks soon.
Aw, that's awesome.
And see, what an amazing why that has nothing to do with a scale.
Just being able to do something you love.
Yep. Our friend Pastor Bob had really bad arthritis and was not able to play piano anymore for years. He went carnivore and he's playing the piano again.
See, that's so
what an
cool.
amazing thing.
Yeah, so cool.
Cat Mom became a new YouTube member. Thank you, Cat Mom. We appreciate that so much for you joining the YouTube memberships here. So thank you for joining there. Caleb says, I hate to be that guy, but AI is supposed to do everything. There are guys writing code for making quality games just by asking ChatGPT. Yeah, it's getting to a point where it can do amazing things, which can be good and bad.
Yeah.
So I will say, it still struggles with getting recipes right.
And don't ask it to write a country song like that when we need a good laugh. It's really bad. But, I think this is the difference. You cannot replace a human mind. I mean, you just can't. And the way that people view the world, the different talents and gifts we're all given. But if it's there and you can take research from it, if you can do hours of researching within 2 seconds of typing something in, use it to your advantage, then use your brain.
Yep, that's right.
Go for it.
Caleb says half the reason it exists is to make sure people don't have to do anything anymore. Yes, which is why we have to make sure we're still doing things for ourselves and creating quality stuff, that we're not just relying on sitting back and letting AI do everything for us.
Yeah.
Taking charge of your own life. It's really important.
Don't be lazy. Be informed.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jackie is here. Good morning. I was on an important call, so I put you on mute and let you play silently in the background. Well, appreciate that.
Nice.
Thank you.
Hey, Jackie.
And Lacey says the U.S. dietary guidelines are from a cherry-picked study by Ansel Keys. I don't understand why we still follow that. Absolutely. I've got some info about that in my ebook, actually, talking about Ansel Keys and why the things that we think of as dietary guidelines are not from good research.
Yeah.
So, again, go research Ansel Keys and keto and carnivore and why all this stuff is what it is. You guys will be much more prepared if anybody ever says, like, well, the U.S. dietary guidelines say, and you go, right, but that was cherry-picked from an Ansel Keys study back in the da-da-da-da-da, and it's, this is why it's not actually real, and here's the real research, and people are like, oh, well, I don't know anything about it. Right.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is confidence, for sure. Lacey says, okay, thanks. Just wanted to know, as some months I have to be a little tighter with funds. Totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
I get it. We got you.
I get it. No problem. She says, my crochet hook is how I make money. I had to put it down last September. Well, keep up with that carnivore, and I bet anything you're going to be picking it back up, and you're going to be in business like never before.
That's right.
So, absolutely. Cat Mom says, thanks. Happy to be here. We're glad you are here.
Yeah.
Jackie says about A1C. 15-year-old daughter's blood work came back as 4.6. 4.8 is bottom of normal health range. After a month of carnivore, doctor wants to discuss as worrisome under-eating, but I think it's great. So, basically what he's saying is your daughter is not doing enough damage to her cells.
Interesting.
What's funny is the normal health range is an average of people. So what if everybody was healthier than they are now? Wouldn't the normal health range kind of start to move maybe even further?
We go further down.
So, now I'm not a doctor. You'd have to ask Dr. Barry if there's such a thing as your A1C going so low that it's causing a problem on that side of things, but I've never heard anybody say that it's like, I mean, now granted, if you're just not eating and you're like starving yourself, and then that's an issue with an A1C, like I totally get that would be a problem, but if she's eating and she's in good health otherwise, and she has a very low A1C because her body is just not damaging her cells, especially at 15 years old. It's like your body's not going to be nearly as susceptible to your cells glycating and being damaged because you're young and you can handle that stuff better. That sounds to me like maybe that's actually a really good thing. So, I don't know. You'd have to confirm with Dr. Barry, but I agree with you. Unless there's some reason that a low A1C is harming you, it kind of sounds to me like it's just oh, she's not damaging her cells enough to be like everybody else. We need her to start eating some carbs and start damaging her cells a little bit. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me.
Sounds so silly, but yeah.
I just think that's pretty crazy, you know?
I think so too.
So, let's see here. Carrie says, don't ask AI to play the song backwards, then you won't get your stuff back. Let's see. And Caleb says, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Lacey says, Fat Fiction is a great documentary on that. Oh, cool. Yeah, love that. I haven't watched Fat Fiction, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it. We'll have to
check it out.
We'll have to check it out sometime. Dr. Singleton says, it seems like some in the medical profession just want you to be sick to ensure repeat business.
You're not wrong. It's how they make their money. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
When you monetize people being unhealthy, what's the incentive for you to fix their problems and make them healthy? There's an entire industry that makes all of its money off of people being sick. And it makes billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Why would they want to make you healthy if they can just give you a pill to kind of offset some of the symptoms, keep you unhealthy, but then also keep you not only paying for regular doctor's visits, but also paying for the medication that it takes to get you through life? Nobody makes money off of you eating beef and being healthy. Other than the ranchers, which we all want to support.
Make America healthy again.
Right.
Support your local farmers and ranchers.
Which is not a political statement. If you think that's a political statement and you think, oh, only certain people should be healthy or everyone being healthy has a political agenda.
No, just want everyone
now,
to be
you may
healthy.
not like the people involved in the way that all got started. That's a completely separate issue. And we don't do politics here, so don't even bring that up with us because I'll kick you out of the chat because we don't do politics. But if that's a political statement, then you have to ask yourself, why do I think that's a political statement? Shouldn't everybody be healthy?
I think so.
Shouldn't the whole world be healthy?
Not just America? Yeah.
Isn't that a worldwide thing? We're talking about make America healthy again because it's where the movement is at right now. And honestly, America is probably the worst in the world when it comes to this. Mm-hmm. But just, just something to think about.
There you go.
Just something to think about. Let's see. Caleb wants to know, are there any recipes you wish were better? Well, let me ask, before I answer that question, Caleb, any of my recipes that I wish were better or any of other people's recipes they wish were better? Let me know which one you're talking about, and then I can more accurately answer that.
I would say, well, I'm speaking on your behalf, I guess.
Yeah.
But I can tell you because, clearly being with his wife and being with Chris, through most of it, I think Chris works so hard to make every recipe that he puts out, the very, very, very best that it can be. Mm-hmm. But truthfully, he's always then, even after he puts them out and he's like, this is the best, through hundreds of other recipes that he does, the more he learns, the more he does things, the more he is like, oh, if I do this, it makes it taste this way. Yeah. Then it's that's why we have things like, you have carnivore mashed potatoes, but then here's a way I can do the same thing, make it better, it reheats better, carnivore mashed potatoes 2.0. Right. And it's here's this really great recipe like pizza, but oh wow, wait, I can make this easier for people. I can do this, and that, and it's better. Yeah. Pizza 2.0. So.
Yeah, so Caleb says my recipes. So I'm going to say something, and I don't want anyone, please don't hear me as trying to say this is an arrogance thing. This is just objectively what is in my head that drives why I do what I do with my recipes. Mm-hmm. I started creating my recipes because I think they're the best in the carnivore world. And that's not because other people don't also have good recipes. That's not an insult to other people. That is based on my palate. When I eat my recipes, I say this is better than any of the others I've ever had of this particular recipe. I don't share it with you guys unless I think it's incredible. So to wish that one of my recipes was better, I think I wish all my recipes were better. Because every recipe I have, I want to figure out how do I improve it. I've been trying to make everything I cook that comes out of my kitchen every single day the best version it's ever been. And I've been doing that for 30 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point, that's, I'm 36, going to be 37 this year. And every single time I cook, I want the thing I'm cooking to be better than the last time I cooked that same thing. Or if I'm cooking something new, I want it to be better than any version of it I've ever had before. So my entire focus is My recipes, in my opinion, are the best of this thing I've ever tasted by the time I share it with you. And then every time I make that recipe again, I'm trying to figure out, well, how do I make it even better than the last time? So when I made the carnivore Ritz crackers, for example, I've seen carnivore crackers. Most of them are made with cheese. I don't think they taste like crackers.
Taste like cheese.
They taste like cheese. Now, I'm not saying they're not good. They are good, but they're not crackers. They're cheese. They're crispy cheese, which is good, but it's not a cracker. When I created the carnivore Ritz cracker that you can also leave out some of the butter flavoring and you can do like a soda style cracker or whatever, I got this incredible flavor profile that made me very happy. I've never tasted anything like that in the world of carnivore. I'm still thinking about ways I could make it better.
Always.
Always. I'm always thinking, how can I make it better? How can I use it to do something else? So this is why, like, I did the carnivore mozzarella sticks. I've had probably 20 different people go, have you considered you could use this with hot dogs to make carnivore corn dogs? And I go, not only have I considered it, I actually have modifications in mind already that I'm working on the recipe. Before I ever released that video, I already had 5 different ways that I was thinking of using that mixture that I made those mozzarella sticks of. In fact, one of them I'm filming today. So by the time I share a recipe with you guys, I've already thought of all the different ways I can modify it, improve it, learn from it, change it into something else, use it for other things, etc. So I'm always working on taking a recipe of mine and making it better. So I think actually I want all of my recipes to be better. Now, I would say if there is one recipe that I wish was even better, not that it's not good, it is very good, but I wish it was even better, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do it where it, like, it's not just like, okay, maybe here's a slight tweak. I mean, no, like, I want to make it and have it go, wow, that's incredible. Like a huge upgrade. Mac and cheese. I mean, because it's really good. I've got several versions of mac and cheese. They're all great. But I'm like, how do I make this taste like mac and cheese that came out of the box that everybody likes? Like,
you mean that blue box?
Like the blue box Kraft mac and cheese. Like, how do I make that happen? That's a huge... And not because Kraft mac and cheese is the greatest mac and cheese in the world, but it's a nostalgic thing.
Definitely.
How do I get the pasta to have that kind of overcooked pasta texture? And how do I get the cheese sauce to have that texture? And if I can make it and I eat it and I go, whoa, that's the reaction I want to have when I make that recipe. So if there's one that I would really like to work on, that would be the one that I'd love to work on and see what I can do. So do you have any of my recipes that you're like, man, that's good, but if you could do this like massive thing with it, or anything else that I've talked about and I've tried that you're like, if you could learn to do such and such?
That's such a hard question for me.
It's a very hard question.
Because sometimes I genuinely like taste stuff. I mean, like, you guys don't really see like the process of Chris. Like, Chris, I can't say what it is, but like he literally just did made a recipe that he's been experimenting with for 2 years. So I've tasted like all of the different things he's done over the course of 2 years to nail this one recipe. And by God, he nailed it. So we'll talk more about that later. But,
coming soon.
Oh, so good. But yeah, I sometimes I get really impressed though, like the Hush Puppies, for example. Like, they taste amazing, they're really good, but sometimes I look at those like when I bite into it and I see, even though there's no bread, no gluten in it, like how you get almost like the crumb of what would be a bread, or like how like you make your carnivore bread and then like you're like, let me make you a grilled cheese, and you toast it up. I'm just really impressed a lot of the time, and I don't know how he comes up with a lot of these things. And half the time during filming, I'm like, what the hell? And then like I taste it and I go, whoa, because it trips my mind up, because he is so particular though about like the taste and all that kind of stuff. And I would not lie to him, because I no offense to anyone, but it's really hard for me, honestly, to find a lot of low-carb recipes that I do like. Because, not that they're bad, but it's like, you know, if I want pasta, going and buying some really expensive egg life wraps and cutting them in strips and then putting some sauce on it, being like, that's pasta. No, that tastes like eggs. And I don't...
If you guys like them, good for you.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm just saying, for me...
We just don't like them. I really don't like them.
If I want pasta, I want it to taste as much like pasta, because that's just what I'm thinking about, that's what I'm expecting. And so if I taste it and it's like, no, that just kind of tastes like eggs with sauce on it, it's not that it's bad, but it's not. I also think, like, if you're trying to get more and more people to go from a standard American diet over here, you can't hand them a dish where it's like, yeah, this is carnivore crackers, and they taste it, and even if they're like, yeah, that's good, well, it tastes like cheese. It doesn't taste like crackers. So I think trying to give people low carb options that are as close to what they're actually expecting is a really big part of it. So, but yeah, I don't really know if there's one that I want you to do better. I just like you to keep making recipes because I really enjoy them. So
it makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense. I like that. That's
carnivore pancakes is probably the one I think. I don't know how you could ever improve that.
Yeah.
That recipe is like so good. I just don't even know how you could ever top it.
Yeah.
But
maybe I'll have to play around with that and just see if I can do it just to prove that I could do it for you. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. I'm not sure. Great question though, Caleb.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a great question. I love that. Let's see. Lost my place now. Here where we are.
Oops.
John says, I'm truly trying to be strict carnivore because keto is a gateway drug to cravings for me. It was for me for a long time too. I'm not so much anymore, but I can still flare up cravings if I eat too much keto stuff, and as soon as I recognize them, I slam beef patties and eggs until it goes away. Like Ash can tell you.
He does, and it works for him. It really does.
Keeps me under control. Keeps me under control. Says, but I'd love to try your mozzarella stick batter on pickles because fried pickles are amazing.
Oh, John, you and I are cut from the same cloth, brother. Come on,
John.
And you can make some of your butter mayo ranch.
Oh,
and you can dip the fried pickles.
It's almost like you guys are inside my head. So one of the things Ash and I have been talking about doing is from time to time I'm going to start doing some keto recipes. And batter fried pickles are probably going to be one of the first ones that I do with my butter mayo ranch.
Why would you not?
Yes, I was thinking about that actually yesterday. So, John, you and I are on a wavelength, brother.
Yeah.
I love it. Lacey says, also wanted to mention that Ash is the perfect taste tester by proxy because I'm not a fan of eggy tasting things. Thank you, Ash.
You're welcome, Lacey.
Yes.
Glad we're on the same page.
This is why I have had people that they're like, well, of course she's going to say she likes it. It probably tastes terrible, but she's his wife. She's going to, it's like very short-sighted for you to lie about a recipe because it would ruin my reputation as a recipe creator. Also, if you guys knew her, you'd be like, yeah, Ash is not going to lie to him.
That's the thing, like, a couple things on that. Lacey, I love you. I appreciate you, my friend. But one, I don't know if you've watched our channel enough, especially like these Monday morning lives or whatever, where Chris is like, we're going to talk about something. Have you all not picked up on the fact that I am really blunt? Like, have you... Like, is that like a secret of like, oh, I think that woman speaks her mind. Holy cow. Yeah, but I think that's just me and my personality.
She doesn't speak her mind. She beats you over the head with it.
Well, and it's not that
it's a good it's a good thing.
It's not that I'm trying to be mean, but sometimes it's like I would never tell Chris that a recipe is good and then have him go film a video because I would never want any one of you, and Chris feels the same way.
It would make a fool out of me.
Yeah.
And it would make us look like liars.
You spend your hard-earned
money. And you guys
would
be very disappointed and honestly angry, and I would understand it.
Because you spend your hard-earned money on these ingredients, you take the time to make the recipe, you're trying already to do a bunch of great things by getting your health in check. I don't want you to go waste your time and money, and then you taste it and go, oh, that is not good. That's not what I wanted. So if a recipe, if I taste it, and it's like, hey, and I tell him a lot, hey, this is really good, but it's missing this texture. It's missing that. And then he tastes it and he goes, you're right. Okay, so how can I make this taste like actual noodles? Is the texture off? Is it this? Is it that?
I have so many people that come into my channel and they're like, I've hated every egg white bread I've ever tried. I've hated every egg pasta I've ever tried. I've hated every this, every that, like whatever. They're coming to my channel and telling me how every version they've ever tried has disappointed them. That's a real thing people are going through in this community. And that's why, like, I can't make them all happy because some people you're just never going to satisfy.
Maybe you try a recipe and maybe it's just not for you.
Right, and everybody has different tastes, and everyone has a different thing they're looking for, and that's fine. So I'm just trying to make it as good as possible to get it as many people as possible to be happy with it. But it's like people come to me all the time telling me how they're hesitant to even try my stuff because every version they've tried before has been terrible, and they think mine's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, I get that.
And a lot of times I have people try mine and they're going, man, I'm so glad I went ahead and tried this because people were raving and I thought there's no way it's going to be good because I've hated every version I've tried, and you're great. And not everyone feels that way, but a lot of people feel that way. And it makes me really feel fulfilled that what I'm doing matters when I can do that for people.
Yeah.
It really makes me happy.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Also, I think that's why I'm very proud of Chris and all the work that he puts into recipes, and especially getting like the texture and things like that right. And the other thing is, like, sure, maybe you're trying to lose weight or whatever, but we have a lot of people here that are actually have children with autism or are autistic themselves, and it's like, texture and taste to them is a really big thing. Mm-hmm. So if they can, and being on low carb is so good for them and their brains.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so if you have a child with autism and you feed them this pizza crust that tastes like some damn scrambled
eggs, and it's squishy, and it's like a weird texture.
Don't make me puke. But true. It's like, you don't think that because of the texture and the taste and all being off that they're not going to pick that up and throw it across the room, because that's like, oh no. They are.
Yeah.
But if you get a pizza crust that's low carb, it's keto, it's carnivore, it's whatever, good ingredients, and it actually tastes like the real thing, we get messages like that all the time, where then that autistic child can sit, they don't even question it.
Yep.
They eat the whole CCN pizza crust and they go, oh, that was really good.
Yep.
They think it's pizza.
Yep.
And it's like, you're bettering their life.
You've just impacted their health because low carb is so good for their brain. And
that's also why we work so hard to make sure all recipes are as good as possible. Yep. And then when we find, wow, wait, we can make this even better.
Yep.
We do a 2.0.
When I come up with an idea of how to update it and make it better, I put out a video because I want people to have the best version.
That's right.
Absolutely.
We want you guys to be happy.
Yeah.
We want you to be healthy and happy, lose weight if you need to, fix your problems, and eat yummy food.
Yep. When you win, we win.
Yep.
And that's the way it's set up. Yep. Caleb says valid, and he agrees with all of the stuff we were talking about, the recipes.
Ditto.
That's awesome.
Oh, man.
John says docs learn lies and spread them to us.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Not their fault. Just happens.
Caleb is very kind. Your recipes are my favorite too. I appreciate that, Caleb. I listen. I'm just doing the best I can, and again, I'm not in any way trying to be disparaging to other recipe creators.
No,
we're all doing the best we can, trying to create these recipes. But sometimes I look at recipes that are out there, and I say, I think a lot of people in the community accepted this is as good as it can be, and it may have been a great starting point.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we should just be satisfied with staying there.
Keep pushing it.
Maybe it's the best it can be, but what if it's not? What if we can make it better? Let's try.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Let's do it.
That's what I do. Lacey says, I like the idea of a physical cookbook. I'd pre-order multiple, one for me and a few to give away. So, Lacey.
Why do we keep doing this today?
I don't know. It just keeps coming up. So we actually had a meeting with a publisher.
Yeah, we're working on it.
And we're waiting to see what a contract might look like, and we're working on a cookbook. And if this goes through and all is well, it's going to be awesome. Mm-hmm. You guys stick around. It's really like I am stoked about the possibility of what this is going to mean.
Yeah, we can't say anything else right now.
That's all I can say.
You got to keep going because we're excited about it.
Yes,
but yes, definitely.
Yes,
definitely
we are very, very excited about this, and it's going to really be special. Mm-hmm. Dr. Singleton says, Amen, Chris. You make amazing recipes. You and Ash are such beautiful blessings.
Well, thank you
very
so
much.
Sweet.
You are a beautiful blessing. We're very glad you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb says, I'm going to buy whey protein for the first time just because of that video. Love it.
That's awesome, man.
Love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
It is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Lacey says, my whey and butter powder just came today for a few recipes.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
John says, lies from Ansel Keys, the primary source of obesity and type 2 diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I think so, yeah. Lacey says, pasta recipe made better. Chris, my husband is going to hear more raving. Love it. Love it. John says, who checks an A1C on a 15-year-old? I've never had that done until I was like 30. That is interesting. Maybe Jackie, are you having it done out of curiosity because you're like ahead of the curve now?
Yeah.
Is the term crunchy mom now?
Yep.
Is that what that is?
Crunchy mom.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. But yeah, that's a good question. Like if it's not you're doing it to try to see things ahead of time, why would a doctor be jumping on that? Unless maybe there's some underlying issue that you're checking that for, maybe. But it's interesting. Patricia says, if you use some of the fancy tips for piping bags to make different widths of your pasta, yeah, you can totally do that. I actually have a way of using a piping bag without a tip, and you can make a fettuccine noodle. We'll have to do a video on that.
Definitely.
Charter Mopar Rick says, I always hated pasta. 56 never had an A1C. Yeah, Rick has been carnivore for a long time.
I think since the 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, long time. So he's got it on lock. John says, I'm half Italian. I can't live without pasta. I need pasta subs or keto would be impossible, right? And see, and this is the thing. So why fight against that? Because it's not the right way and it's not keto enough. Like, why do all of that? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I'm not saying that you should have my pasta recipe every single day and, you know, whatever. It does have dairy and maybe that's a problem. Maybe it's not. It's for each person to decide. But what if you can keep yourself keto consistently because on occasion you have something like that and it makes you feel satisfied, it makes you feel stable, and it's like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Gives you confidence to do it. Maybe use it less and less and less over time. Maybe you don't. That's up to you, but I think that's why stuff like that matters so much.
So cool, yeah.
That's great. I'm so glad, John. And he likes the mashed potatoes version 2.0 better. Caleb says that right there was blunt. You ain't wrong.
Yeah. Probably so.
And he says, I view bluntness as shameless honesty. I agree. Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to lie to people to try to make them feel good because I don't think that's kind. Like, I don't want people to feel bad, but I also don't want to tell them something that's not true and just be like, oh, I made him feel good, but I lied. I don't want to do that to people. I'm not going to lie about how I feel. I don't want to be unkind, but I don't want to be false either.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Let your yes be yes and your no be no. That's what we try to do. Let's see. Lacey says, I only cooked the version 2.0. It's such a huge batch, there's no way I'd be able to eat that whole thing. I needed to be able to reheat. The version 2.0 has lasted me 4 meals. Yeah, it's very filling.
Oh, very, very.
It's very, very filling. And she says, really good with brown gravy.
Yes,
absolutely.
Delicious.
Is anything not good with brown gravy?
Not that I know of.
I mean, listen, I'm a country kid. You can give me a bowl of gravy and a spoon, and I'm pretty happy.
Be pretty happy with that.
Rebecca says, what's the name of the book you mentioned again about why doctors think the way they do? I'd love to buy one for each of my doctors. So it's Dr. Barry. It is Lies My Doctor Told Me. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Very really popular book to read yourself so you're informed and then go give it to your doctor and be like, hey, thought maybe you might find some of this info interesting, something I've been looking into. It's a great way to kind of just ninja tactic your way in where they don't feel criticized and you go, this is from a doctor who I really respect and I think has good points. What do you think about this? And you leave them up to decide for themselves, and then you might just change your doctor's lives, and then they can change the lives of thousands of other people because they see patients. It's been known to happen in the community. A whole bunch, in fact. John says he makes the mashed potatoes when he has company 4 more at the table. Nobody has a clue that nothing on the table is carb loaded. That's awesome. Funny. I love it.
Awesome.
Janelle says what sold me on many of your recipes is the lack of cauliflower. Cauliflower isn't pasta or potato. I agree with you.
How many times can we thumbs up that comment?
I don't know, but a whole bunch, I hope.
Yeah.
Caleb says he'd buy a cookbook too. He'd pre-order it right now if he could. Well,
nice.
You guys just hang in there. We're working. We're behind the scenes running in circles doing things.
We're doing all the things.
Lacey says, try to get my husband to try them, but he's super sensitive to eggs. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Some people just... They just
Sometimes,
can't do it.
I know for me, especially when we first started keto and carnivore, it's very much a mental thing because it's like, I know that even if it tastes just like bread, and even if it doesn't taste or smell like eggs, you know that eggs probably are in it because it's carnivore, right? So it's a mental thing at first, but maybe he'll get past that. So keep doing it, Lacey, but you are awesome.
Brian says the cookbook would definitely be great. We got a lot of love for a cookbook going on here. Wallflower is here. Donna, hi.
Hi, Donna.
I've just been enjoying the show and being my wallflower self. I love you guys, and you are such an inspiration. We love you.
We love you.
And we are so glad you're here. And are you doing okay? We miss you. We feel like I haven't gotten to chat with you in a while. So just hope you're good. Just let us know if we can do anything.
We love your wallflower self. You're great.
Caleb says I've been called a crunchy mom multiple times.
Caleb, I have too. I was called it yesterday actually, and I've embraced it. I'm a crunchy dog mom. That's the thing. I'm not even a mom, just a dog mom. We're crunchy.
Lacey says we tried just white, just yolks. Each time, horrible stomach cramps. Yeah, that's rough. Now, have you tried duck eggs or something other than chicken eggs? Because sometimes people who are super sensitive to chicken eggs can actually have duck eggs. It can be hard to find, but might be an option for you. So just something to think about. And it could be that sensitivity will go away over time too. Sometimes it does for people as they clean up their diet and heal, they get to where they can do it. And maybe not. Maybe he'll just always be sensitive to eggs. But just some thoughts there.
Yeah.
John says cauliflower has been asked to be way too much that it's not good at. Cauliflower is good at being cauliflower and not much else. Give the cauliflower a break. I agree.
Man, agreed.
I agree. Lacey says cauliflower tastes like farts. I agree.
I totally agree.
I agree. I like cauliflower raw, dipped in like ranch dressing. That's the way I ate it as a kid. Other than that, I never wanted cauliflower.
Mm-mm.
And now it messes with my stomach, and I'm just like, nah, I just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Caleb says, I'm 1/3 Italian and confirm it's in my genes. I love pasta and pizza. Those recipes are on my list.
Yeah.
So you got the pasta recipe. We got a new pizza recipe coming. I'd suggest wait till that one because the other one is good. This one's even better. Mm-hmm. So, and Rick's been carnivore since 1983.
That's so cool.
Amazing. So cool.
Yeah.
Janelle says, amen. If I see cauliflower in a non-cauliflower recipe, I keep on scrolling.
Yep. Come on now.
Lacey says to love people is to speak truth to them. I agree.
That's right.
I just don't want to lie to people. Like, I don't ever want to try to hurt someone's info and anyone's feelings. Things on my screen are invading visually, and then I'm speaking.
I don't want to hurt anyone's info.
That's right.
I don't even know what he meant. What are you talking about? What are we
this
saying?
Person's name popped up. News and info.
Oh,
Joe is here, and I saw the word info, and I just said the word info. I don't ever want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I don't want to lie to them and then set them up for something that wasn't true.
Yeah, makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of news and info, Joe says always love 2.9.
Oh, probably 2.0.
2.0, probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's probably what it is. Glad you're here, Joe. Rick says, I'm willing to try the things Chris creates. It might actually be a fun experiment.
Yeah,
it might be fun. You know, I mean, listen, my recipes, for someone like Rick who's been carnivore for so long and is really strict with it, he doesn't need to stop doing that and start eating my recipes. Mm-hmm. But if you want to have some fun, or especially if you want to fix it for other people like he's talked about, to help other people maybe try carnivore, that's a great way to do it.
Definitely.
Rebecca, A1C at a young age if they were diagnosed diabetic at a young age or have parents who are type 1 diabetics because it is said it can be inherited through generations. That's a good point. That might be it.
Yep.
Sean says try cauliflower pizza crust. Burnt cauliflower is as nasty as burnt hair.
Oh, dude, isn't it? So gross.
Yeah.
So
there it is. Always love 2.0.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's awesome.
John says you want the truth. You can't handle the truth. I love it.
Love it, man.
Jackie says 15-year-old having some dizzy spells and had a full blood panel done last July. She had very low ferritin, only ate when normal was supposed to be 30 to 70. We're doing a second retest after supplementing. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Her level was 40 in September, but now in February she's at ferritin 190. I'm sure Doc thinks it's from the supplements, but I think it's the carnivore.
Probably so.
It probably is. It probably is. Well, good for you, Jackie, for helping your daughter out and getting everything rolling, and sounds like you guys are doing the right stuff. So I think it's awesome.
That's really cool.
Janelle says, try cauliflower pizza crust. Burnt. Now, why would I want to try that? And Sherry says, I disagree about the cauliflower, but then you know me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sherry loves her cauliflower.
Sherry's
I get
all about it. You do you, Sherry. We love you anyway.
That's right. And Shantae says, do you still use the rice egg recipes? Yeah, every now and then I do some rice with the egg rice. In fact, I'm going to probably redo my carnivore sushi. Because that was a long time ago I did that. She asked me to maybe do a carnivore sushi 2.0, and that will be using the egg white rice. So you guys be on the lookout for that carnivore sushi 2.0. Jackie says, proud to be a crunchy mom.
Yeah, come on, Jackie.
Cat Mom says, but I want the cookbook now. I know. I got to find time to actually write the cookbook. That's the problem. Lacey says, duck eggs are impossible to find. I keep trying to talk him into letting me have some ducks, but no luck yet. And Caleb says, I want to buy one of those huge weird eggs, like emu or ostrich
like
or something, probably.
Emu eggs.
And Lacey's like, emu? Yeah. Yeah, I've heard they're really good.
Yeah.
I've never had one, but they're also expensive. Jackie loves cauliflowers. Cauliflower loathes cauliflower mash. Cottage cheese is the new cauliflower this keto season. Yep.
You're not wrong about that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Shantae says, Lacey, how do you know what farts taste like? On second thought, don't answer that. Well, I can tell you I know what farts taste like because I have a golden retriever that likes to lay between us with her butt pointed at our faces, and in the middle of the night you wake up and you're like, oh!
And it tastes just like cauliflower.
Oh, man, it's bad. Oh, I'm not even sure cauliflower is worthy of that insult.
Yeah. She's like back here, like peacefully just sleeping away.
Yes.
Just...
Lacey says it's an educated guess. RJ McKenna is here, says I don't think doctors lie intentionally. They have been taught about nutrition.
Agreed.
Yes,
absolutely.
That's the thing. It's not that they're intentionally harming people, because part of their Hippocratic oath is do no harm. But they have been taught by a system that is incentivizing people being sick to make money. So the doctors don't mean anything by it. They're just dudes and chicks doing what they were taught. But they have to be informed.
Yeah.
And they're not informed of these things, and so it's it's a whole thing. Lacey says, plus sometimes you can taste smells.
True. Yeah.
Sherry only eats cauliflower as cauliflower, doesn't make fake foods with it. I was eating it last night with blue cheese dressing during your Keto Crusade live, along with raw radishes and celery.
Oh yeah,
actually,
that's tasty.
That sounds really good. I like cauliflower that way.
I like cauliflower too. Just don't do weird things with it. That's
Jackie says, I made some cauliflower cottage cheese tater tots a la Cooking with Dave. He's a hoot. And they were very tasty. Not a dupe, but good. His cottage cheese brownie bites are da bomb.
Oh,
yeah.
That sounds pretty good.
That's the thing. So something like that, like the tater tots a la Cooking with Dave thing, I'm sure they taste good. They probably just don't taste like tater tots. And that's the thing for me that I get so picky about with my recipes. If it might taste good, cool. Make it what it is, but don't call it a tater tot unless it tastes like a tater tot. And that's where and that's just a me thing. That's me getting super picky. But yeah, it's very interesting. Lacey says, now I love cabbage with bacon, grease, and onions. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, Lacey. Hands down. Delish.
Yeah. John Wise, pizza crust always has some burnt spots. If it's cauliflower, it's horrible. Yep, I'm right there. And he also says, Emu, 1 egg family omelets. Their meat is tasty too. Looks like steak, dark meat when cooked. That's cool. I'll have to see if I can find some and try it sometime.
Yeah.
D. Marie is here.
Hello.
We're probably going to be getting off quick here, D. Marie, but we're glad that you dropped in from northern Minnesota.
Hope you're doing well.
Lacey says, could the potato salad taters be used as gnocchi? You're not going to get the same texture. I'm working on a concept for gnocchi, but gnocchi is a very specific texture and one that is very difficult to figure out how to do carnivore. I've been thinking about that and French fries and dumplings, all three, and they all three have kind of a similar textural thing. I know you guys probably think I'm crazy, but in my brain, there's a thing about all three of them that is similar, and if I can unlock the key to that, I should be able to do all three, but I've got to figure out how to do it. That's what I'm thinking about, so, yeah. Rick says, unless the emu tries to sell you insurance.
Oh,
absolutely.
Funny.
Well, guys, I think we are out of time for today. We got to go get ready because we got taste testers coming over for filming a video. It's going to be a busy day. We love all of you guys. I appreciate you being here. So I wanted to let you know, coming up, not this Tuesday, but I believe next Tuesday. Is next Tuesday March 4th? I think next Tuesday is March 4th.
I believe
whatever March 4th is. So I'm scheduled to be on Dr. Kiltz's very early morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Time live stream. On that same day, though, on March 4th, Backstage with Chris, Tuesday, March 4th, we are doing another giveaway with Knife Saga. So set your calendars. You guys come on the live. We're going to be doing a live giveaway. They have 10 of their Nakiri knives they're going to be giving away to people in the live chat that night. And it's going to be really cool. We're going to ask questions and let you guys win some knives. There's also going to be a really special discount code that is the best price I've seen on the X4 Pro knife set, the one that I use every day in the kitchen. It's an amazing knife set, and they're going to do a special discount code for you guys that are there in that live stream. So if you don't win a free Nakiri knife, or even if you do win a free Nakiri knife, if you want to upgrade the knives in your kitchen and have a really nice knife set, they're going to have a special discount code for you guys, and that's going to be really, really cool. I'm so excited about this. Also, I'm talking with them about doing a Chris Cooking Nashville branded knife set. So it would be like an X4 Pro set that has my logo on it, says Chris Cooking Nashville. Put it in the comments. Would you guys be interested, if you're looking to maybe upgrade your knives, would you be interested in a Chris Cooking Nashville knife set? Let me know, and we'll see what we can do with talks with them. But let me know. Set your alarms, your reminders for that Tuesday night live stream on March 4th, and come in there and see if you guys can't win yourselves some amazing knives and get a good discount on that knife set, because it's really a great knife set. I love it. I use it every day, so it's amazing. Looks like Auntie just dropped in. Auntie says, good morning, Chris and Ash. Hi, Auntie, one of our Rockstar moderators. We're so glad you're here. And Dustin from Keto Simple popped in too. So you guys are just getting ready to see us say goodbye, but we appreciate you guys popping in. And we love all of you guys. We're talking about the live stream. We got some people saying they'll be interested in some CCN knives. That's awesome. I think that's going to be super cool. So we have the crazy hot dog pasta recipe. Tomorrow night. Total experiment. So tell your friends, like, if you want to see Chris cook in Nashville, maybe totally screw up and maybe see his wife spit the food out for the first time on camera ever, or maybe not. Maybe it'll be great. Tune in, and it's going to be really fun. I think it's going to be fun.
I'm a little nervous, but it's okay.
It's going to be very interesting, and we'll see how that goes. So we got some cool ideas with it, though. It's going to be fun, and at the very least, it might be funny. So maybe it'll be amazing. I'm not really sure. Because I'm not going to pre-test this, because I'm already busy today. I don't have the time to test this recipe today. So you're going to see a live, real, raw reaction. We might run a little long on our live stream tomorrow, just depending on how fast we get done. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be wild to see how that turns out. So it's going to be a good time.
It's really
so you guys make sure to let everybody know to come and see what we got going on and be there for all of the fun, and then we'll give those knives away on the 4th. That's going to be a lot of fun. We have some recipe video coming out this Saturday. Like I said, we haven't figured out exactly which one yet, but it'll be coming. Is there anything I forgot? Anything we need to announce? Anything we need to talk about?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
There's so many projects going on right now. We're struggling to keep up.
If you tune in tomorrow night, that's later in the day, so by the time we finish our coffee, maybe we'll remember everything back then.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We love every single one of you guys. Don't forget that description box link and also the link on the website for the private community. If you'd like to come over there and join us, we would love to see you guys and just support you in your journey and do some extra recipes for you there, some extra live streams. We're going to be doing a giveaway soon, just all kinds of cool stuff. So come see us over there if you guys are interested. We love and appreciate every single one of you guys. Have a wonderful week. Stay prepared. Don't get crippled by that unpreparedness. We love you guys. This is Chris Cook in Nashville. My beautiful wife, Ash Taylor, over here. You guys eat your meat, love your life, stay prepared, and we will see you in the kitchen tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye, guys.